but time is not in his favor. He has a challenge to shotgun close, and Wood's gonna get it!
Do some damage. Nicolai from the backside! Finds both of them again! It would be a big one. He's finding the first. Can he find it? Swinging in!
What? Left in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. Make that a 1v1. Oh my goodness, Nitro Cell out. And who's gonna stop him?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's been a long time coming. Of course, our quals just finished, and now, that was just the teaser. We're ready for the regular season. SCS6 starts now. And Jonah, you and I, we get the incredible privilege of being the ones to bring it to everyone.
God, it feels so good to be here. I mean, I know we were just here for quals 2 days ago, but like, it's finally started. This project that has been in the works for months, for years almost, it feels like, and we're finally kicking it off. We've got some interesting matchups to do that. But let's break this down first. Let's talk a little bit about the structure, you know, and what we have to look forward to over the next 2 months.
Yeah, of course. If you're unaware of our structure, we kind of teased it during the qualifier, but it's 4 groups of 4. Actually, I believe the comparison was all the way back, if you guys remember, the Rally Major, where it was 4 groups of 4. Each team plays, or each of the 4 teams play double elimination brackets within their group, and I mean the play just pretty much continues from there. If you lose twice, you're out, so 2 teams will advance, 2 teams will be eliminated, and our top 8 teams at the end of the stage, which is done in 4 weeks, or actually done in 3 weeks, move on to playoffs, which is 1 other week, and then our season's done. It's a relatively quick season, no more 8-9 week T3 season, so hopefully, fingers crossed, nobody disbands.
We'll see, but let's take a look at that you mentioned. We'll start over here with Group A. Actually take a look at all of these teams that we've got locked in. Of course, Aerial Rise, invited Challenger League team. They are here to tear things up, and they'll be kicking things off today in our second matchup against Achieve Esports, a team that made quite an impressive run in the first qualifier. Two-Faced as well, another invited team. They'll be joined by In Control Nation, another team who made it in through our second qualifier.
And In Control, actually, I think everyone would consider that an upset against the Wichita Wolves Academy, against JJ. Even though they lost the first map, the JJ qual curse prevails, and Inc played admirably. Achieve as well. I did not expect Achieve to be one of the teams to make it, but here we are. They're kind of the remnants of a Smoke Break from Challenger League Stage 1. A lot of similar players. I believe TPA, Morocco, and Twizzler are all playing under that team. And we want to move on to Group B. That's one of our first games is going to be a Group B game, and that's going to be One Shot versus ECLECTIQ, as you can see down in the bottom left-hand corner. That's the match that's coming up. One Shot, not only being an invited team, not only being in Challenger League playoffs, just like Aerial Rise, but actually beating Aerial Rise in the SI Open Quals. One Shot was able to win that, go to the finals against PB, where they unfortunately lost, but it was a 2-1, so they did take a map off of Parabellum, and One Shot are looking to make some waves here in SCS as well.
There's no question that they are that standout favored group here. I mean, favored team here in Group B. They have, you know, such a history, and their performance over the last few months has been impeccable. We can move on over to Group C, see what we're dealing with over there, and take a look at some of these other teams. Again, we have 2 teams that made it in from qualifiers and 2 invited teams in every single group. Now, the invited teams in Group C, that's going to be Investigation File and Karn & Co. And the teams that made it in through the qualifiers, of course, Team Mystic, working their way in from that first qualifier, and Okami working their way in from our second qualifier, which ended just yesterday.
And Okami is one of 2, actually, No, Asylum Patients lost, didn't they? Okami are the only Challenger League team who participated in our qualifiers to actually make it in. Because Asylum Patients didn't make it in, and who are Bernie's Tacos, if you're unaware, and Outlast. Outlast also did not make it in, so I guess congratulations to Okami, but I think that also just goes to show how strong T3 can be. I mean, they can take it to some of these Challenger League teams. Sure, it's not the upper echelon of Challenger League, but if they can still hang with some of the lower to mid-tier teams as a, T3, as underagers, that's pretty damn good. That really speaks to the, the wealth of skill that we have in the T3 scene that just can't compete at Challenger League because of their age. And if we want to move on to the final group in our season, again, 2 invited Challenger League teams, that's Wichita Wolves and Nocturnes. Actually, both of these teams being in our Stage 3 playoffs, unfortunately, with Wichita Wolves getting first rounded, and Surf Esports and Aerial Academy. So, Surf Esports, I think we can all kind of consider to be the best team in T3 right now. There's an argument to be made that Mystic has that first spot as well, and they're dead even, but I think Surf's record against Mystic is actually is either even or better. I think Surf has more wins over Mystic than Mystic has over Surf. And Aerial Arise Academy, a pug stack who went through our qualifier, one of the only pug stacks to actually make it in. I think it's them and was it them and Soup? I think are the only pug stacks we have, right?
I think, yeah, Soup was one of those last minute kind of additions that we got surprised by as well.
Yeah. So I expect big things from most of these teams. Obviously, there are some unknowns such as Soup and such as ECLECTIQ, but I think, today's game, ECLECTIQ versus One Shot, ECLECTIQ surprised a lot of people. And coming in the very first qualifier, the first qualifier is always tougher to get through than the second, because by then we've already kind of weeded out some of the stronger teams by qualifying them into the seasons. The fact that ECLECTIQ made it in through the first qualifier, I think speaks bounds to maybe how underestimated they are.
Yeah, it's an unexpected team, and that's, I guess, going to take us into this match. Is going to require, well, an unexpected performance from ECLECTIQ. It is One Shot versus ECLECTIQ. That's where we're going to start, and let's take a look at this One Shot roster. This is a roster that we're all familiar with. It's Quartz, it's Slippery, it's Swaylen, it's Kilo, it's Storms. They just faced against Parabellum in that 6 Invitational Open qualifier just yesterday, of course, falling to Parabellum in the end, but they really made waves while doing so. Now, some critical points to go over for One Shot. It's not going to get too complicated for them. No doubt they are the favorites in this matchup by a considerable margin. Third place CL team. They don't have a lot to prove here, but they really want to make that Pro-Am. This is a powerhouse of a roster, so the question remains, is this the game? Is this the stage where they want to hide a few strats? They know that ECLECTIQ is not going to be the caliber of team they're usually comfortable facing. So are they going to hold back a little bit and step off the gas? I suspect we're going to see them go pretty crazy because, again, everyone wants to get to that Pro-Am. The stakes are high because we don't have like a regular season with a point system. Every single game matters in a double elimination bracket style.
Yeah, it ain't like CL. We don't have any 4-loss teams clinching their way in. You lose twice, you lose 2 best of 3s, and you're out. That's actually another thing we haven't really mentioned. There's no best of 1s. It's all best of 3s. We're back. I'm so excited. I love best of 3s. What do we want to talk about One Shot's opponents, the underdogs. There's really no argument there. They are definitely going to be the underdogs. ECLECTIQ consisting of Haiku, Goons, Semi, Z, and Duke. These guys, I've never heard of them at all before the qualifier, and the only reason I'd ever seen Haiku is on Twitter because he's in a friend of mine's bio, and that's really all I'd seen from him. So these guys are, as far as I'm concerned, completely unknown. I doubt One Shot have any VODs of these guys either, while ECLECTIQ do have VODs of One Shot, not only from Challenger League, but those are a little bit old, but they have fresh VODs from SI quals, which were just yesterday, just the day prior. So ECLECTIQ have plenty of info to go off of. A couple of the critical points, they had a miracle run through the qualifier. Can they keep that up? Can they stand a chance? My gut instinct is no. But again, we've seen crazier things happen. And, can 1 week of prep and the invite qualifier VODs really be enough to get a leg up over One Shot? I think that's going to be something that we highlight throughout the course of this match. ECLECTIQ, again, I've been saying it over and over, are completely unknown. We don't really know their map pool. We don't really know extensively how they play, whereas One Shot have been, fully revealed. They're an open book as far as I'm concerned, especially with the SI quals going on. And like you said, are One Shot going to be hiding stuff? While they do want to get to Pro-Am, the second set of SI quals haven't happened yet.
Right, they are going to want to likely keep things under wraps because there's other teams out there. They don't want getting free information on them. ECLECTIQ may be, their biggest worry right now. So do they want to hide strats? Do they want to hide some maps? We can actually take a look at our map veto right now and actually see what maps these two teams agree upon to face in this best of 3. And oh my goodness, Harrison, we are already getting spicy.
Yes.
With Clubhouse and Oregon off the board early, these teams are blessing us with Chalet and Bank right off the bat, ending on a Villa decider, but our focus is going to start on these two unorthodox maps. And I gotta say, Harrison, it is extremely refreshing considering we just came through the qualifier and all we saw was Clubhouse Oregon, and Villa. So to see
Yep.
Chalet and Bank the moment we get into this group stage, it really feels like a welcome to SCS6. It's about to go down.
Right? If there was any doubt that the quals were just a teaser for what's to come, I mean, Chalet Bank to kick us off in the brand new season with one of the best Challenger League teams, the second place team from SI Quals, going up against a team that we have never seen before. I mean, I couldn't have written it better myself. So thank you to the teams. Thank you for banning Club Oregon right off the bat. You cannot believe my sigh of relief when I first saw that. So Chalet, this is going to be an interesting one. Now, One Shot have proved that they are a decent Chalet team. Now, they lost it to Parabellum during the SI qualifier because, well, that's Parabellum Chalet. We can't really talk too much on that loss just because Parabellum Chalet is so good. But I remember during the normal Challenger League season, Chalet was definitely a map that One Shot impressed us on. But ECLECTIQ being that unknown team, Chalet, while can be very complex in the way that the shields and the way that the utility plays out, if you just go in and play that all-out aggressive game, sometimes that can work for you.
Well, with our teams almost ready to go, we've got one last order of business here, Harrison. Let's take a look at the predictions. I know we can assume this is going to be pretty one-sided, and it is everyone but Ty going with One Shot. That is kind of what we would come to expect. But Ty going with the ECLECTIQ prediction, and it's always good to see someone throw in their vote for dogs. Now, I do think it is going to be a long shot for them, but what comes with, this unexpected territory and these unexpected teams, there's always a bit of a surprise in store for a team like One Shot, who's never played against ECLECTIQ, probably never played against teams like ECLECTIQ, at least recently. And as long as ECLECTIQ use that mystery to their advantage, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think they could get a few rounds. They could go pretty far in this matchup and make it interesting because they just have to play their own game. They just have to understand that they are coming into this matchup already on the back foot, and they just got to have fun with it. They got to play loose. They got to play the style that got them through, like you said, this miracle run through the qualifiers. If they continue that momentum here, I'm excited about what we could see.
Yeah, I definitely think ECLECTIQ could pull out the unexpected. And right when there's very little pressure, no pressure on a team to win, that's sometimes when we see them play at their best. They don't have to worry about anything. They're not going to be shaken on game day because they were never supposed to win this game day in the first place. So I think that's what One Shot really have to be careful of, is the unwarranted confidence that ECLECTIQ might have and that unpredictability. But I still think that you're absolutely insane to think that ECLECTIQ can beat One Shot. I think maybe Ty needs to get his eyes, or rather his eye checked before he made that prediction. I know he's made some other very interesting ones that I think we'll see, later in the season when those matches come around. But I am very excited to see ECLECTIQ play. I think we saw... Oh, no, they didn't. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought maybe we saw like one on-stream performance from them, or one of those like during the quals, when we did like that little tune-in on the player streams. But I don't think they were featured a single time at all.
So a total mystery, right?
Yeah.
Not only to One Shot, but to us as well. So that'll be exciting.
I can't even be
idea.
like, oh, on the one map we saw them, Haiku was going off or whatever.
We don't even know who's playing entry. We don't even know who's... Yeah, we don't know anything about this.
Nope.
I mean, a perfect opportunity to get a glimpse into what they bring to the table. One other kind of aspect I wanted to highlight, and I would say a concern, but a unique element of this matchup, is the fact that we are going to Chalet and Bank, especially the fact that we're going to Bank here, and ECLECTIQ being, an unknown T3 element, likely with considerably less experience than One Shot has, going to these maps that some would call, these lesser played maps in the pool. Is that smart or is that dangerous? Obviously, we don't want to see a clubhouse in Oregon. We've seen that a lot, but those are safer qualifier maps for a reason, because it doesn't take a masterful T2 mind who are practicing and scrimming every single day and have a coaching staff to get those maps down. Everyone knows how to play them. But you go to a map like Bank, that is where map knowledge and strats can really start to pull teams apart. So another thing to keep our eye on.
Yeah, as amazed as I was seeing Clubhouse and Oregon banned first, I really got to question the decision from ECLECTIQ, because those are the great equalizers, right? Clubhouse and Oregon, if you're a perceivably weaker team and you're the underdog, and there's no way around that fact, you want to take these more experienced teams to the fundamental maps, to your Oregons, to your clubs. So taking One Shot, leaving Bank up, not taking them to the equalizer, that's definitely a decision I have to question, unless ECLECTIQ completely blow us out of the water when it comes to that map. We got to get through Chalet first, ladies and gentlemen. Chalet being ECLECTIQ's pick, and starting on defense first because One Shot obviously want that advantageous attacker side. So Flores will be the first span. Definitely makes sense. Like I had previously mentioned, Chalet, when it comes to those shields, when it comes to that utility, can be rather complex. And ECLECTIQ are starting on defense, so they don't want One Shot to have that ease of access, those drones that can just slip right past all the Womidis, the Aruni Gates, the Jaeger ADSs, and blow those shields up for free.
Well, the Nomad is going to be taken off the table next. That is a little bit more surprising, especially when, that leaves Thatcher on the board. It leaves a couple other, essential attacking operators on the board, but it's something we do see now and again. The Valkyrie as well, that is a lot more common. Your cookie cutter defensive ban on every single map because those black eye cameras just provide so much intel. Speaking of, the intel from those yokai drones will also, oddly enough, be removed from play. The Echo ban is something I don't know if we've seen in a good while, given that those Echo yokais are no longer as strong as they once used to be. They're no longer invisible and can just sit on the ceiling completely stealthily. Now you have to actually work those around the site and be a little bit more careful with how you play that.
Yeah, so I like the Nomad ban from One Shot, maybe banking on the fact that maybe ECLECTIQ are a little bit more disorganized, so they're not going to have, that constant flank watch like they would if they had that Nomad up, because again, Nomad's kind of a set and forget flank watch operator. Now they are going to have to dedicate a body to either watching those angles or being on those flank cams the entire time. But the Echo ban is definitely interesting. I'm wondering if maybe ECLECTIQ saw One Shot's use of the Echo during SI quals and were like, hey, they're pretty damn good with that. We don't want to afford them the luxury. Or maybe it's cluing us in a little bit, on how ECLECTIQ like to play on the attack. Maybe that's like a sneak peek, Maybe they're very slow and methodical. They take their time through the map and just don't want that added risk of not only One Shot, being a team that plays the Echo. We know that. And they don't want that added risk of, the yokais just screwing them over at the end of the round because they wanted to be that methodical.
Well, starting things off here on Bar and Games, that's where ECLECTIQ will begin. Pulling out the castle and those barricades being utilized all over this map to maintain control down below. Both long and short being covered by those castle barricades, one facing Mudroom, the other facing Dining, just hoping to maintain control of that bottom floor in case One Shot attempts to go a bit more directly. But what we can expect from a team like One Shot, from most attacking teams on this map, is a more methodical top-down approach. You're going to always want to clear out library and work your way in from above, applying as much vertical pressure as possible. And while the rest of One Shot will be doing that, Kilo, he's busy getting a little bit of a shortcut going. He'll open up that main double door, and he'll already get a pick onto Goons, who was maybe a little bit unaware that Kilo was already in that forward position and looking to take some gunfights. The rest of One Shot, they're not focused on gunfights right now. They're just focused on clearing their way through from Piano. They've worked their way all the way up, and now it's just transitioning to this library side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's your Jaeger who usually plays upstairs, either behind Blue or over towards Chimney. I'm not quite sure if... I imagine Goons was probably over towards Chimney, and that's how Kilo was able to get the pick, because normally your Wamai is sitting behind the blue shield, and he's going to have to reposition himself to where the Jaeger had died before. Now it's Semi placed behind there as the smoke, another very default position for that operator's One Shot. Continue to clear in Storms, placing those rotations. Duke getting very lit up just from, I think, the window? From a random spray. Unfortunate positioning there, I guess, for the Aruni, as now Thermite will go ahead and breach bunker, giving One Shot that long sight line down Ivy so they can start picking away at the utility, protecting that shield.
Well, Semi will still remain positioned behind this shield. 1:20 remaining, so One Shot, they still have some time to work with. Nothing they're going to get too worried about just yet. Not to mention, they are wasting these toxic smokes by applying this pressure. Semi now using those to delay the push as much as possible, but that is going to get more challenging now that Court has used that EE1D. The Lion now aggressing all the way up. Storm's joining him, and they will push all the way up and seize this control. They're not going to do it for free, though, as Kilo is taken care of. Semi using that FMG9 perfectly and claiming a kill to equalize the man count. Now ECLECTIQ will turn it in their favor, dropping Slippery down. He may be able to be recovered here, so nothing too much to fret if you're One Shot, but things are starting to get a little bit out of hand, and maybe One Shot just wasn't quite prepared for what they're about to walk into. There goes Duke. He'll finish off Slippery for good. Swaylin will answer, though, onto Semi, so it's an even 3v3 as the last 30 seconds approach.
Though Duke is a little bit lit up, and you saw him rotate back down the basement from main. The Zofia, though, exposing himself to the inside of Bar. Haiku doesn't land the kill, tries to turn around on Sway, but doesn't nab that one either. Now it's a man advantage for one shot, HP advantage as well, but Z holding the long angle, cuts down Storms, but can't get the second. A triple kill for Swaylin. He's tying this round together for his team, but he's got to get the plant down. There's only a second left, and he hops off of it just in time. Duke had the round at the tip of his fingers, but the Thermite took a calculated risk, and boy, did it pay off. It's a 4K for Swaylin to start off the season.
Oh dear, that was a close call, though, for one shot. ECLECTIQ making that one close. More than that, they held an advantage for a good part of that round. I think one shot weren't quite to be held up, so I guess you could say frustratingly upstairs as they tried to, bridge that attack from Piano over towards Library and work their way down those staircases. And yeah, they had a lot more resistance than they may have initially thought. ECLECTIQ did a great job of not only running with that default setup, but throwing in a little bit of aggression when they felt it was necessary. You highlighted Duke in those last few seconds. He actually proved critical earlier, taking care of Swaylin, or it was Slippery rather, on the Yana, who was upstairs and just maybe getting complacent himself in Fireplace Hall. Duke went with the wide swing and took care of him as well. So yes, one shot took the round, but ECLECTIQ, well, they came damn near close to pulling out the opening round against a very strong Challenger League team. So I'm impressed with the way things have started out for this defense.
Yeah, that was good from ECLECTIQ. I think we can now look forward to this map instead of just writing it off as a one-shot stomp. Very well done with the recovery. The initial clear from one shot really looked like it was going to go their way, especially with the opening pick on that Jaeger, but Semi holding it down wasted a lot of time. So I think we can expect a much better round from ECLECTIQ, considering I doubt Goons is going to be playing as foolhardy as he was in the previous round. With him up and ECLECTIQ, a full 5 strong, having more presence on that top floor, if they can waste even more time, then surely they'll get the next round.
Surely. I mean, they were so close last time.
That's what I'm saying.
So. Barring games again, though, I mean, it is always a risk, right? It's always a risk to go to the same bomb site twice. Really nothing much you could say other than they're going to have to just tidy up those simple mistakes and just win like Duke was about to win that last critical fight. And Goons will? Are you kidding me? Storms is going to get slammed. He'll pre-fire the window. He had, I think, 2 players lined up, but not able to find either kill. He'll get, 50 HP dealt onto Goons, but Goons will whip around and just slam him. And now it's a 5 versus 4. And as ECLECTIQ once again, who take this early edge, and one shot now have all that utility to clear, and they don't have a Zofia to aid them in that endeavor.
And Z, the long angle through Library, gonna cap Slip. 2 kills for ECLECTIQ. What happened there as well, Jonah, was funny. The Jaeger was actually castled out. He had no rotates there. So Semi rotated through Ivy, and mid-tearing down the castle barricade, Goons just whipped around and fried Storm. So that was extremely well done, and I'm sure one shot we're not expecting that kind of gunplay to come out from ECLECTIQ. Now they trail by not only 2 men, but their 2 entries. The most aggressive players on the roster, and a lot of destructive utility. Now, all you have to clear the shield from the smoke, perhaps even castle barricades, the bulletproof cam, actually the bulletproof cam that Duke didn't even put down, so I guess that's kind of a moot point, is the nades from Kilo. Now, while it is enough to deal with the shield, you still prefer having, that added bit of budge, that added leg room with the extra utility, but they're just going to rush on in. The Wamai kind of overexposed himself on Chimney, and Semi gets caught off guard by Kilo just rushing through Library because the Wamai was dead and could no longer cover that. So a little bit of overzealousness there on the defense. They thought they could run away with the advantage, but now we find ourselves even.
And this is where you can see the experience come in from one shot. They're a team that is not going to get flustered when they're down, even to, like you mentioned, Harrison, of their big entries. We saw how they took a calculated risk, decided, let's not waste time spending utility, let's take gunfights and let's win them. Quartz is going to continue that pattern, as will Kilo. Just like that, it is Haiku, the last player standing on this defense against 3. Quite a turn of events for One Shot, and it seems like they know where the castle is positioned. Kilo has his eyes trained exactly on that staircase, and that is going to allow Swaylin to get this bomb down. Haiku is actually castled out of the site, and he's going to have to go for a top floor retake. Kilo will be lying in wait. He'll get a bit caught off guard, but he'll be able to win the gunfight nonetheless. One Shot turn a 3v5 into a 3v1 into a round win. Very impressive stuff from them. That's 2 in a row.
And ECLECTIQ had such a good start. Iana and Zoe dead, nothing cleared on the top floor, and they threw it away. Who am I? You don't need to kill the guy Ivy window. I'm sorry, but you just don't need to take that fight. You literally have a smoke there. And I don't think you can Gone 6 the shield from the window. I don't think the Lion could have just burned for himself. Either way, don't do that, Z. And because the Wamai is dead, his entire job is to help secure library. Library control is no longer in the hands of the defense. So Kilo just rushes in, walks through the connector, and Semi is playing too far down the staircase to see this. Easy kill for Maverick. And it seemed like, well, we didn't see it. ECLECTIQ just kind of scrambled to make a play, get something back, or just got caught off guard by the angles, and One Shot found the frags. They figured out what kind of game they need to play against EQ, and it worked. That's 2 in a row for them. Excellent recovery. I believe, 3K for Kilo as well, as ECLECTIQ finally switched the site by dining instead, another site where you got to hold that top floor.
All right, and something we see a lot of more experienced teams struggle with, and sometimes they'll, complain about it by going, oh, what is the other team doing? We've got no idea. They're running around like monkeys. Well, in that round, it actually seemed like One Shot, the team with the more experience, adapted a little bit of that strategy in the end, right? They took those aggressive fights, but like I said, it was calculated aggression. They knew that they were on the back foot, and they had to make a bold play to recover that. On the other hand, ECLECTIQ, being in that 5v3, they needed to take a step back, kick their feet up and relax a bit. They needed to not take those aggressive gunfights and do their best just to play off each other. If you suspect that One Shot are going to try to get that advantage back by playing aggressive, all you've got to do is play the trade game. You've got to have a teammate in position right around the corner to swing off that contact and get the kill if you need. Unfortunately, ECLECTIQ took some gunfights, like you said, that they maybe should have thought twice about doing. So now, after 2 unsuccessful Baron Games defenses, they will shift things up. It's kitchen and dining next for them. Once again, it's going to hinge upon an extension. This top floor extension specifically, Duke at the helm of this, holding down Piano, hoping that he can stall out One Shot from actually making that push up towards the site as soon as possible.
Curious that One Shot don't have someone posted up on the double window, because that one player could easily deny where Duke's playing, but it's actually Z with the first frag. Was that all the way? Yeah, it looked like Closet through the office wall onto the office balcony where Kilo we saw spray through the barricade earlier. He'll be the first player taken out, but it'll be Goons to run out of bathroom next. Trying to take out Storms. Unfortunately, he will be the one to meet his maker. I'm not quite sure what the play was there for the mute, because usually, you hope that the Piano guy can distract before you go for it. And it seems like Z either going for a refrag or just spammed in through the wall. Either way, Storms will claim his second victim. And now, again, what was a great start for ECLECTIQ, killing the Maverick first, taking off a set of nades, bleeding about 1.5 minutes. Well, now they're bleeding manpower. And although they'll get 1 back, it comes at the cost of 3. And now Duke's got to figure out some way to get back to the site, because Semi right now is on Trophy Stairs all alone, though he will frag Quartz. Wonderful C4 and return the man count to even.
Yeah, nice shot from Semi, followed by a nice C4, and yes, that's going to equalize here and actually force One Shot once again to make a move. They're on the attack here, and they've got to get going into this site, and they're not going to waste any more time pushing all the way in, but that's going to cost Slippery his life. Swaylin, who now has to get this bomb down somehow, is alone, and is going to have quite a difficult time doing that. Once again, he'll stick it, hoping to see ECLECTIQ now move in to stop it, but they didn't. Swaylin actually could have stuck that if he chose, but it was enough to encourage Duke to drop down. So both defenders should be on this site. Yes, they are. Swaylin takes the first gunfight in kitchen, but Duke will prevail in the end. And ECLECTIQ, despite a rocky mid-round, they will take it. Their first round of the series.
Yeah, I really thought that was just gonna kind of spiral out of control with Storms as 2 frags, but ECLECTIQ played the trade game really well, and I think that's something to highlight, especially with newer teams. We don't always see that kind of trade potential, but every time someone on ECLECTIQ died, there was someone in range for a refrag or at least an attempted refrag, right? Goons maybe gets a little bit too over aggressive. He dies. Z attempts the refrag, dies as well, but you still got these players upstairs fragging out. I believe it was Duke to get a kill. Haiku gets fragged out on the site. Semi gets the C4 on the courts. He keeps the man count contested. And because of how chaotic it was on that upstairs clear, Duke was never dealt with. And I don't know if One Shot just never knew he was there to begin with because it was kind of the Aruni and the Mute that were making a fuss, or if they just had assumed that Duke dropped down because of the low man count and because Haiku died on site, but not fully clearing that top floor, ended up losing them the round. Slippery pushed way too far in, completely ignorant of the guy on the hatch. That was a freebie for Duke. You stick Swaylin in a 1 versus 2, but he's already in the middle of the site, caught between a rock and a hard place, especially because the shield was still up by the plant wall. Well done by ECLECTIQ. That's the kind of firepower and zeal we like to see from a brand new, untested team. They've got a round on the defense. Remember, Jonah? Well, yes, One Shot were up 2-0, and ECLECTIQ could have easily won that first round had Duke just been a little bit quicker. It is Chalet defense. In theory, they only need one more round.
Yeah, they've almost done the job they need to. I mean, every single round you get on defense is incredibly valuable, and yeah, with one already secured, they just have to narrow down over the next 3 rounds which bomb site is going to be the place where they can secure that round. I mean, they've been close. In the rounds they've lost, they've been close. They've even held an advantage at times. They just got to chain together a perfect round, or as we saw in the last round, maybe not even perfect, a near perfect round. And that's how they will secure wins. But shifting from kitchen, going 1 floor up, it's master and office this time. This is where things might get a bit dicey for them, because it's the first site that doesn't require One Shot to clear through the entire map before they get there. There's no contingency plan if One Shot just decide to sprint on into the site. The moment One Shot see this opportunity, I suspect they'll take advantage of it. So ECLECTIQ need to be on their toes. They need to utilize this roam as best they can and see, if possible, catching One Shot off guard, if that's the solution here.
I also just realized, by the way, I thought Semi was running the extendo on Goyo. He's actually got a suppressor, which on the Vector makes it do like 19 damage a shot. So definitely an interesting decision. But Jonah, you mentioned the roam, but I don't think the roam is actually meant to contest the attackers, because look who's down there. It's Semi and Goons, the 2 C4 operatives. But do the defense have any intel? No, they don't. They've got nothing on site, despite the mountains of C4 presence they have underneath. The plant still goes down for free in a 5v5. Kilo taking out Haiku, the smoke, just before Swaylin completes it. And Swaylin himself, the planter, finds 2. And the round's over. One Shot take round number 4. I mean, I had doubted the rush in the site just because they had those C4s underneath, but there was no info to work off of. The C4s are useless if you are in no position to use them and don't have any play to enable that. So like you said, One Shot saw their opportunity, they took it, and especially with the smoke dying early like that, ECLECTIQ had no recourse.
Yeah, I can't say I didn't warn you. I mean, they saw it. They saw that slight creak in the door, and they just kicked it right on down. And that's the kind of thing that ECLECTIQ need to... I mentioned the word contingency plan earlier, and I think it's vital that they are prepared at every given moment. You highlighted the C4 presence, and we saw none of those C4s connect at all. Even after the plant went down, we heard 2 of those resounding explosions of those C4s being tossed. Neither did, I don't think, even a single HP's worth of damage to anyone on the attacking side. That's the kind of thing that ECLECTIQ have to shake off and just get that down as soon as possible, whether that's the timing, the coordination, or maybe a stronger intel game. Obviously, they don't have the Echo. That's something they banned out themselves. No Valkyrie. So we understand your intel is going to be limited. You got to use those BP cams. You got to use those sound cues, and maybe, if you really get desperate, throw in a Maestro and deploy some Evil Eyes, because if you're going with a plant denial strategy from below, you need the intel to know when the plant is going down. And even though One Shot did a great job of, catching them off guard theoretically by jumping into the site early, there should have been some mechanism in place to identify that, to figure out where the plant was going down. It was going down in default, so nothing fancy, and having someone in place to deal with that as soon as possible.
One Shot find themselves up 3-1. We're back on bar, though, where ECLECTIQ were very close, and there it is, a double run out! No one covering the vent doorway. That's 101.
That's the chaos we need.
That is Solar Take 101, is have someone watch that. Or at least have a drone, or at least have a claymore. Something needs to be on that doorway, but that's Swalen and Stormsdead. That is an entry operator, and that is a thermite. On a bar attack, the thermite isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it only speeds things up a bit. Now, ECLECTIQ, last time they defended bar did have 2 opening picks, and remember, One Shot still brought it back, and Kilo's going to start doing that once again, taking out the chimney player.
ECLECTIQ still have the advantage, and I pray that they realize that as soon as possible. You don't have to be taking those gunfights. Duke had no business peeking his head out down towards that main double door. Stay calm, stay patient, because One Shot, they have to force the issue. You mentioned they lack utility. They're going to slow down, and they may get desperate towards the end of this round. All ECLECTIQ have to do is be in the right place at the right time when the desperation kicks in. For now, for One Shot, it's a waiting game. They're inviting the ECLECTIQ aggression. You can see Slippery. He's being patient on Mudroom Window. He's waiting for someone to swing him because he knows he wants that free kill. Goons is thinking about it here, a little bit worrisome, and now Quartz is going to spring into action because he heard the 416 fire from across the map. So now it's his turn to step up and see if they can eliminate these slightly extended players. Combined with Slippery, they're looking to get this little pincer maneuver done. This barbed wire will reveal Quartz's position. Doesn't matter. The pre-fire and the headshot will land. Now it's a 3v3.
Still got Semi on the stairs, though, on blue, waiting and watching. He's got gas nades to play with, and yes, Kilo gets cut down. The advantage swings back over towards the defense, all with full HP, mind you. Quartz trying to come up from main, trying to pinch onto Z, actually. The Wamai has absolutely no idea. And as Semi falls, the situation just got significantly worse for EQ. It's now Haiku alone in the site because his 2 defenders decided that they wanted to extend. Great job. Now it's a Castle alone. He'll flick onto the planter in the second as well. Haiku, despite the odds stacked against him, plays it flawlessly. Wonderful shot on the Iana, and well, Quartz, unfortunately being forced to funnel through a doorway against someone bobbing and weaving around the bar, well, he didn't stand a chance. That's ECLECTIQ's second round.
All right, there it is. I mean, you highlighted the 2 rounds they needed on Chalet defense, and they got the job done. Now it comes down to just continuing this as much as they can. It looks like we do have a little bit of an issue with the game. May have crashed, actually, so we're going to have to take a quick break before we continue that. But as I was saying, you mentioned the 2 rounds were important, and the 2 rounds have been secured for ECLECTIQ. One Shot haven't been able to complete those rounds, and even though they've been close, and even though ECLECTIQ have made a couple mistakes here and there, they got the round. And at the end of the day, you look at the scoreboard, and that's what matters. It was a bit troubling. That was the second round where ECLECTIQ had a 5v3 advantage because of 2 really good early picks. This time, it was Goons on the run out on that double kill because One Shot just were not, maybe as focused as they should have been. A little bit tunnel visioned on Solarium. But still, One Shot brought it back. In fact, brought it back to a 2v1. They took the advantage back. Still, Haiku made it happen, so very impressive stuff for him. And, well, ECLECTIQ will hang on, doing more than that, getting the 2 rounds they need.
Yeah, with the UMP, very impressive stuff there. But again, it kind of speaks to ECLECTIQ's inexperience and just how good One Shot are. They have consistently been fighting from behind, losing opening picks and stuff like that. ECLECTIQ have, I believe, 3 OPKs. They're 3-2 right now. And yet One Shot has still been winning a lot of these rounds. I mean, we just saw them on their last bar attack clutch up a 3v5. And honestly, I thought they were about to do it again. They got a kill and then 3 in a row without traded off. I mean, it was wonderful stuff from, I believe it was Quartz and, Quartz and Slippery, I think, at the end there on the Iana. I mean, Haiku stepped up. Yeah, but if you're ECLECTIQ, I mean, I'm sure you're happy with the fact that you won the round, but you should not be happy with the way in which you won the round. A clutch is not consistent. You cannot go into a round thinking to yourself, hey, hey, you know, if we're in a 1v2, we got this. Haiku will just clutch up. That is not a winning strategy. That's not a strategy at all. Clutches, sure, you're happy to get the point, but you still need to go back and reflect on why you were in a clutch position in the first place and amend that. ECLECTIQ, I mean, despite getting those early advantages, they seem like the way ECLECTIQ plays, it looks like they always feel the need to make a play, right? Whether it's Goons running out and taking a swing, whether it's the Wamai last round, I think Z coming in from main lobby instead of just anchoring on the site where he was previously, Semi pushing down the stairs instead of taking top control. They look for these fights despite having the advantage instead of playing passive. And so far, I mean, sure, again, Haiku clutched up the round, but so far it's kind of been hurting them.
Well, the good thing is we are back into this game rather quickly, I might add, and so we can quickly go into this final defensive round for ECLECTIQ, final attacking round for One Shot, to see if, in fact, they can secure the expected 4-2 half, or if ECLECTIQ can continue to defy expectations left and right. Now, we will be heading back to kitchen and dining, and the last time we were here, ECLECTIQ was able to take the round. It left Swaylin in a 1v2 in a situation that was practically unwinnable, and so One Shot to really fix this attack, it's just about cleaning a couple things up here and there. We saw them struggle to get into Solarium. I believe it was Semi who hit not only a very impressive long shot, but a nice C4 onto the repelled player on that Solarium window to take what One Shot had established as that advantage and quickly turn that script around and take the advantage back for ECLECTIQ. So that's what they'll be looking to do once again. Similar extension on this top floor. 4 players, or 3 right now, devoted to that extension. A lot of utility, and that's exactly what One Shot will have their eyes set on at the beginning of this round. Wondering if maybe we're going to see a little bit more direct push from One Shot. I mean, they did push in with 50 seconds left last time, but it was only in that, 2v2 situation when they felt they had to. The entire team still seems to be opting for that methodical, more disciplined approach.
That's something they'll keep doing. They really want to control the pace of this round. And if you, make sure that you have the map control before you start moving on, you're sure that the defenders cannot shake things up and knock you off the pace that you have established by retaking anything. So I like the way One Shot's kind of handling ECLECTIQ right now, especially knowing that ECLECTIQ like to get aggressive. Even if ECLECTIQ have the advantage, they're not going to sit back, and One Shot have been ready for it the entire time, and that's kind of the what you typically see that slow play kind of elicit. So Sway has already opened the top wall. He'll now go and open the bottom wall. And luckily for him, you don't actually need to take fully into the top floor if you want a dining minimal take, because, I mean, there's no real reason for you to. The defenders can't really play on those vert holes without exposing themselves to the massive gaping hole in that top wall. Now, unfortunately, though, Swelling can't breach the dining wall just yet. There's a mute jammer behind it, so One Shot might now be forced to take into office just to clear that one piece of utility.
Well, there's also several unknown elements at play here, Harrison. Both Semi and Goons, at least until a moment ago, were still downstairs and going for some sort of a flank. Now, Swaylin has been able to get this main dining wall open, and that's big for One Shot, and what looks like it is going to be a pretty aggressive attack. But what they haven't been able to do is locate these 2 defenders. Now, Goons is positioning for a C4 right up over that hatch towards that default plant spot. Now, that smoke is going to go a little wide, so Swaylin will be able to sit there for now safe. But when he pushes into the site, Goons, well, he's going to try to make him as, well, unsafe as possible. Throwing that C4 right by the bomb chassis, but he doesn't even have to. Haiku goes unchecked, sitting in the middle of the site. Storms will get that trade, but now he's going to have to recover the diffuser. Wasted C4, though, and that's a valuable piece of utility ECLECTIQ will want back, but now they're going to have to fight this one out with their guns. Top floor gunfight. Z can't take that one and lose it. Slippery will win. Spoons takes another fight and actually wins that one against Storms. 5 seconds left, though. Plant has to go down from courts. He will reposition and get the job done, leaving Goons to clutch this one up. His position is known. Slippery will exchange a couple of bullets in his direction, but because Goons already wasted that C4 from below, this one is going to be tough. We'll have to use that SMG-11, and Quartz is not having it. One Shot will pull out their 6th attacking round and secure that expected 4-2 half.
I like the play from ECLECTIQ. After you've already used all of your gas canisters as a smoke, you're just another gun, so Haiku figures, hey, I'll just go for a suicide play. I'll deny the first plant attempt. But it looked like there was a communication breakdown because as soon as Haiku kills that first guy, why does the C4 come up immediately after? Unless the call was simply not made or not heard, that C4 should have been saved. Additionally, with those site players dying, they didn't really need to die. Well, first of all, they didn't really need to die in the first place. They were just kind of peeking. Slippery upstairs, I mean, I got to give it to Slip. Just soloing into Piano and taking out those top floor players was huge. But I got a question. Why is Semi rotating back up West Main before the C4 downstairs goes off? Because they could have just traded places. If Goons goes back up West Main, anchors with the team, tries to take the gunfight, over towards the breach or just apply pressure, the safe plant spot is still behind bomb chassis, which means that C4 is still viable if somebody had just stayed downstairs. But instead, because of those site players dying, because of the upstairs players not being able to do anything, that added pressure for Semi to have to rotate up. He could not wait for the C4 to come out. So a lot of it looked like miscommunication, and again, over-aggression from ECLECTIQ, not being ready for One Shot to catch them. And you saw the way One Shot played as well. As soon as they knew they had the advantage, they tightened up. They stopped pushing. They played passive. Quartz goes for the plant. He repositions all the way behind the shield because they know where Goons is. And you saw the way One Shot, after that plant went down, they stopped moving. Slip crossed from the breach, and that was really the only engagement we saw Goons was able to take before Quartz swung him from behind the shield. I think that's just kind of the experience playing a factor. One Shot know when to slow down, and it looks like ECLECTIQ really don't.
Yeah, that's something we've highlighted it several times here, but rather than slowing down, I think ECLECTIQ, it's their turn to focus on speeding up. We're going to shift over to the attack so we can take, maybe some of the lessons we've learned from this first half and apply them here, and man, that is a very smart play from Z, opening up that wall facing bar stock with that Maverick torch, and having Z there quickly to get that kill. That's really, really fantastic stuff. Storms is actually a little bit worried about that, maybe looking to take a fight over there in games, but he will back off and reposition in bar stock. But he's worried about that angle now. It's already been established on that staircase, so he doesn't feel comfortable holding that position anymore, and that could be exactly what ECLECTIQ need. Force One Shot out of their comfortable positions and make them take gunfights. Here it is again. Swaylin, he'll get his head taken clean off by Semi, who's playing the Lion, and right now it is working. ECLECTIQ once again find themselves in a 5v3. Slippery, next player to step up. Looks like he wants to take some gunfights. Looks like he wants to get aggressive, but here comes a nade his way, and he'll be forced to fall back. Just kidding. He wants more. He's back in the action. Storms will pick up a kill off screen, while Slippery now looks for one as well. But it looks like that gunfight will have to wait a little bit longer as, well, things got a little bit closer to even, but ECLECTIQ still holding the edge here with a minute to go.
Z was playing a very dangerous game, but as is Kilo, and he'll lose it to Goons. 4 versus 2. We've seen One Shot come away with these clutches before, but as Haiku shuts down Storms in the site and leaves it all up to Slip, it is looking less and less likely. Now the plant going down, Slip is going to try and retake the top floor. The shield is still there, but so is that player in Connector, but beautiful shot onto Duke. I don't know how the hell the Ash just lost that. Luckily, there's Goons covering the long angle all the way down the bar hall, and ECLECTIQ take their very first attack, starting with that really fast playing Garage. After all, the Mav Torch entry into Snowmobile is relatively silent, and you're doing it so early that especially a smoke player, they're usually still kind of caught either still setting up or getting back to their proper position in sight after setting up. So they catch Quartz completely unaware. You take away bar stock pretty much for the entirety of the round. You had mentioned Storms being very scared of bar stock because of that hole, as though am I. He couldn't play in there. He was kind of forced to just sit in games. And as One Shot exposed themselves repeatedly to Library, ECLECTIQ were happy to find the kills. I think that was kind of that fast style finally, playing into ECLECTIQ's favor. Now that they're on the attack, they can start dictating the pace. And, I mean, they're forced to push anyway. So just the play style aside fits right into how they want to go for it.
Well, I'm starting to realize, Harrison, why it seems ECLECTIQ have selected this map of Chalet. They really do seem confident here. And, I mean, the margin, it's only a 1-round margin now. One Shot, as we expected, maybe they would be out to a pretty sizable lead right now. 5-1, 6-0 half. That's the kind of one-sidedness that maybe a lot of us expected going into this, but ECLECTIQ have defied that. And honestly, I love to see it. Not that I'm against one-shot in any way. Love to see this unexpected team who made that miracle run through the qualifiers continue that momentum. And well, there's a timeout being taken, hopefully for one-shot to address some of the issues they've been having. They've got to talk it out, and they've got to clean up their defenses here, because with what they just saw, ECLECTIQ, they've got some spice. They've got some curious strats that they're going to throw at you. If you think that wall is safe in bar stock, just kidding. There's a Maverick who's going to open that wall and make it a deadly death trap. Now, obviously, one shot still hold the edge. It's still a one-round lead for them, and they've got their pick of bomb sites because they weren't able to win bar stock. But ECLECTIQ, on the attacking side, on an attacker-sided map, they've got the confidence right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they even things up.
Attackers need to locate and
I mean, 4th round, round 7, that is expected from Chalet. So ECLECTIQ are still in this. And I may have kind of counted them out prematurely before the map even started, but they are putting up a hell of a fight. Now, one shot are going to switch up the site. They're going to go onto Dining. They have the castle and their arsenal, so they'll have one castle barricade with an Aruni gate on short. That'll mean that, you know, even if the wall gets opened, you know, hard breaching open a wall doesn't mean it's not a bottleneck. So putting that castle barricade there, especially with those footholds, is going to make it a little bit more difficult for ECLECTIQ to get through short and establish those angles. Of course, unless they have the Zofia still up or Beyond still up. Now, unfortunately, Semi called that there was a game crash, so we might have a rehost. I think we are just waiting on the we're waiting on the admin decision on that. Yeah, we are going to in fact have a rehost. So unfortunate. I hate rehosts because it means we have a rather lengthy lull in the action, but it does kind of give us some time to talk about how ECLECTIQ are going to move into these future rounds. I mean, again, that first attack was extremely fast. And I don't want to say unlike the defense, because that's not really true. But it looked like they had a plan. Like they had a very well thought out, specific plan, and they were able to act on it rather flawlessly. There weren't too many mistakes. I mean, what? Only one, maybe two people died in that push. I'm pretty sure just one. And I mean, sure, one shot, that's just the first defense. They may have just been kind of caught off guard by ECLECTIQ's speed. I mean, I gotta kind of question if you're getting caught off guard by their speed. Why? Because they play just like that on the defense. But if they got caught off guard by their speed or what have you, I think one shot are now kind of reading into that. They've brought more shields. They've brought a castle. And they want to push forward up to ECLECTIQ and force ECLECTIQ to play that slow game, play that utility game, which again, a lot of inexperienced teams have not mastered yet.
To know here though, like what has worked better for one shot? Is it that slow game? Is it forcing that slow game on the attack, forcing that on defense? Or is it playing a little bit looser? I feel like on the first half, when you look at kind of the overall breakdown, it seems that one shot, yes, they won the first two rounds by playing that methodical style, but it sure wasn't pretty, Harrison. I mean, they nearly lost both of those rounds, having a couple of issues just pushing into the map. Then we saw them ramp things up and get a bit more aggressive, and they found a bit more dominant success when they turned to that strategy. Now, I'm not saying that's the better approach for them. They know the game better than ECLECTIQ, and they probably know that. I mean, everyone watching probably knows that. And generally, when you know the game, when you know the map better, a slower utility focus is more often than not going to be the best solution. But One Shot is also a team of absolute gunners. We saw that all CL Stage 3. We saw that just yesterday in the SI quals. And they can use that to their advantage if they see fit. I don't know what we're going to see on the defensive side exactly from them as these rounds start to evolve. If ECLECTIQ start to continue to build this momentum, that's when I think One Shot may start getting more aggressive and countering aggression with some aggression of their own. But for now, it's likely that they're going to play that utility game. That's why they're favoring Kitchen and Dining instead of, Master and Office, because they want delay, play that utility game on the top floor and just see if they can tear apart the attack from ECLECTIQ before it can really, get going and get to that full force and aggressiveness as we saw in the previous round.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, I mean, not that One Shot did either, but ECLECTIQ aren't taking the Thatcher, and strangely enough, don't have a sledge. So once they do take that top floor control, I mean, obviously One Shot didn't need the sledge because, I mean, you don't really need that on bar. It's just kind of, an added luxury that you like to have. He can be useful, but he's not necessary. When it comes to kitchen and dining, a sledge is very useful. He's very good. The way One Shot were taking it, though, was the wall direct. They weren't even planning on fully taking top floor to begin with, at least not until those defenders upstairs were distracted by what was happening below and Slip could move in for some easy kills. Now, ECLECTIQ, might have a similar plan. Who knows? Going direct. But One Shot have more dedicated to the site. So it might be a little bit more difficult. And, again, those direct takes are kind of hard to begin with. The reason why One Shot's able to pull those off is because they're a very experienced team. They're used to taking like that. ECLECTIQ, I don't know if they have the solid, definitive coordination to do so. I mean, we saw a beautiful display of coordination in the previous round. Again, is that just a flash in the pan, or can they keep that up?
Well, yeah, we've casted a lot of doubt towards ECLECTIQ, and so far, at least, they've proved that that doubt is unwarranted. They're going to have a chance to prove that, though, for the remainder of this attacking half. Can they continue the momentum they've built over that one round? We can dive into that right now, because thankfully, we've got all of our players back in this lobby, and we are ready to go. Now, again, here on round number 8, as we've recapped already, kitchen and dining. That is going to be the site for One Shot, because you have to pick the same site, same ops, and undergo the same setup, which we're likely going to see them do in just a moment. That includes the castle, the mute, trying to play that utility game on the top floor. You can probably throw a castle barricade on that trophy window as well to assist you down below. And on the attacking side, the lineup that we saw them pretty comfortable with in the previous round. The addition, though, is the Twitch. No Maverick in this case. Favoring the Twitch instead is an odd decision, especially because we don't have someone like a Goyo in play right now, but still a useful operator if you can get those drones in the right places, I suppose.
We also have, like you said, no Maverick, no Thatcher. They actually 6-picked off the Thatcher onto the Lion. So they really, really want that EE1D. I mean, again, the way ECLECTIQ play, the Lion probably fits right in. They look like a fast team, and Lion helps with that playstyle, keeping those defenders in place. He can help with those aggressive roam clears. So I'm curious to see if ECLECTIQ will go upstairs first, downstairs second, or if they just try for the full clear upstairs and then try to execute instead of just opening the wall, leaving it, and then executing downstairs. They don't have the Thermite. They have the Hibana, so their hard breach is a little bit limited, and that makes me think that they've got a clear top floor, because trying to go direct off of just Hibana holes on the dining wall is pretty difficult.
Well, we'll see now how they want to approach this. I mean, we just got underway, and well, all indications suggest that we are going to see that top-down clear from ECLECTIQ. They have wasted no time to actually get in the building, working their way up all the way into library and clearing up towards piano as the round gets underway. At the same time, we're going to see a little bit of pressure being applied from Goons. He'll be snaking that Twitch drone through the site as much as he can, seeing if he can deal with any utility down below, making sure that there's no, C4 lying in wait potentially for these players on the top floor as they work their way across. Now, while there may be no pre-placed C4, there still is a ton of intel. You can see it from all these bulletproof cams. Both Slippery and Kilo brought a BP into play. Quartz is also pulling out that Evil Eye, trying to maybe remedy the mistakes in the last round, and they don't want to get caught off guard by any aggression. They want to have a plethora of information at their fingertips to use, and right now, that's just going to mean they know exactly how far to sit back on this site. They know that they don't have to swing because ECLECTIQ are still working their way through this utility methodically, and, well, it's taken them a good while.
And with the operators they have, I don't know if ECLECTIQ are going to have enough utility on the site to deal with all of those Evil Eyes, the shield, the bulletproof cams, because Duke is completely out. You've maybe got a Gone 6 and a single nade on Z and a Gone 6 on Semi, but again, I don't really think that's going to be enough. Storm's going to take the first engagement. Duke takes damage, but is ready for the second, and Slip, attempting to play off the contact, will go down. Goons on the F2 finds another one, a very potent weapon. You don't just play Twitch for those drones. And now ECLECTIQ lead by 2 men. And although Duke is lit up, so is Storm. So you really can't take that HP too much into account either. And as they leave 1 player upstairs watching that breach, rather 2, they might start focusing on this execute now. They know there is only 1 guy on site as Kilo eats some damage thanks to that Iana, again, still watching upstairs. Z is really looking for this fight. He doesn't want to play passive. He wants to keep the pressure up, but Kilo gets a kill onto Duke. That was the low HP Zofia, but in comes Semi, locking that smoke in place. Swaylin gets blindsided. He didn't know Semi was in at all. And Z finally gets the kill onto Storms upstairs. That leaves it just Kilo, the castle, in a 1v4.
Well, and we are seconds away from being all tied up as Haiku is getting this plant down. And Kilo knows he has to get a move on, but he is basically frozen in place. It doesn't need an E1D to freeze him to do that. There are players looking at him from just about everywhere. Z, a watchful eye on a potential rotation down below. The rest of this attacking team sitting by the bomb and protecting it. Now, Z will fall, but doesn't that feel all that consequential. Kilo actually just going to go and hunt for that frag, even though he knows that is going to waste valuable time, because now he's got to pull out a miracle here, finding 3 attackers in 15 seconds, and Goons won't even give Kilo a fighting chance. ECLECTIQ tie us up at a 4-4 scoreline here on Chalet. They're on the attacking side. They have the momentum, and One Shot have already burned that timeout. The momentum, and I didn't think I'd be saying that coming into this matchup, is firmly in the hands of this ECLECTIQ side.
And momentum is the name of that attack too, right? Just as we said, they like to do it fast. They were in library within, what, 30, 45 seconds? Already breaching open the hard breach on the Hibana, or from the Hibana on the office wall, completely uncontested. And the Zoe, she sees there's no one in piano. She just takes that control for free, lands a kill, and forces those defenders back inside of Master, inside of Closet, gives Z that room to breathe as he watches through the breach hole. Goons coming in, I believe it was from main, was able to land a kill as well. And of course, when you're up against like a 4v1 on site as a smoke, that's tough. Because not only was he busy dealing with the main breach on the dining side of things, you had Semi jumping in, getting the kill, and the smoke had no idea. Perfect timing from that Lion. ECLECTIQ so far on the attack, at least. Again, their defense, while their defenses were decent, they were really falling victim to their own over-aggression, over-peaking, and overextending. But here on the attack, on Chalet, sometimes that's really what you need. And their team play and coordination so far has been very impressive.
You highlighted some of the things that ECLECTIQ have done really well throughout this game. And in that round, I think we saw one of those highlights again. We saw how they made that decision. Instead of forcing that top player out and trying to hunt for that frag, doing a little bit of quick math, saying, wait a minute, there are 2 players up, and we know 1 player's upstairs. We can focus on the site. We don't have to focus on taking out Kilo. You highlighted the play from the Lion. It was brilliant all across the board. A very smart decision from ECLECTIQ, knowing they had the man advantage and using it as best they could. And all they've got to do is continue that. Once again, they are quick to get into the building, and they are quick to hunt for these frags. They know the job they have to do. They got to clear out this top floor. They know exactly where One Shot are positioned. They're going to be all over library, top of Fireplace Hall, and the top of these library stairs. Again, Storm's on the Wamai, a critical operator in this situation. You don't have those Rotero drones, so it's going to be an old-fashioned utility consumption, an old-fashioned burn on this shield. But right now, ECLECTIQ are still getting that job underway, and One Shot, you can see them getting maybe a little bit more antsy than we've seen from them in the past. Maybe they're trying to ramp it up and just get a couple of kills before ECLECTIQ mow them down yet again.
Now, here's where the Thatcher comes into play. If Semi times his EMP right, down goes those ADSs, possibly all the magnets as well, and Storms' shield could be free. But again, that comes down to the timing. You just heard the EMP go off. Out comes the magnet, but it's too late. The shield, and now dead. Beautiful from ECLECTIQ. They even land the kill. Flawless utility execution. I mentioned that One Shot might want to play that utility game because of the inexperience of ECLECTIQ. It could trip them up. It's a point you hammered on as well, but that was perfect.
Textbook. Ain't much you can say about that other than it was a clinical execution of poor Storms. He didn't stand a chance, and Slippery is gone as well. Kilo will bounce back, getting a kill onto Duke. Swaylin will recover things even further, saying goodbye to Goons here. Z now on the hunt, a 1v1 with Swaylin behind a deployable shield. Now that is a less smart decision, you could say, but Swaylin, he's feeling the pressure here from just about everywhere. Semi will come around to assist his teammate of Z, who has now been taken care of. Quartz again, a response is heard. So it's Semi and Z, 2 players remaining on this top floor, and they've got 30 seconds to work with to track down Quartz and Kilo, who've been, you know, relatively quiet since the rehost. At least Quartz has, but oh no, the Frostmath takes down Z. Does Semi want to risk this and go for the recovery, or is he just going to puddle into the site? Well, I think we've got that answer. He knows Quartz is swinging on him from bar stock. He is stuck in the Melusi Banshee, and Quartz is not going to bother to swing and capitalize. Doesn't matter, though, because Semi will end up taking that gunfight, and Quartz is lying in wait. But that round, as messy as it was won by a bear trap.
All right, well, I am never praising ECLECTIQ again, because every time I do, they just do some dumb stuff and then lose the round. They had a one-man advantage because the second kill got traded off. They had a near perfect utility clear. And then Goons peeks from lobby and loses that fight to Swaylin. He had the drop on the Frost and still whiffed it. Now, the duo play in from Z and Semi was, you know, that was good. But how was Quartz able to land his kill?
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
Did
bombs
Haiku
as
just
they can.
jump into library? That's the only thing I can think of. From where Quartz was sitting? So that, questionable decision. 2, Z also jumping into library instead of just calling his teammate. Because he was... Or no, did he go through the window, or was he trying to jump out the window to go to double? To go to games double? Did he walk into their bear trap from the inside? Because he was already inside.
He was already inside. He didn't have to. It's possible he went around, but like...
Or, yeah, he may have gone...
I honestly hope he did, because I was really...
Because Semi got the kill onto the Frost top blue, and Z was kind of stuck on Heaven. I think Z may have gone, like, out the office window and, like, up and around.
That is unfortunate.
But, that should have been an easy ECLECTIQ. Wow, they choked it. Well done to one shot, though. At the end, I believe that was, Swaylin and Quartz landing most of those kills. Especially... I still can't believe Swaylin killed Goons. That was a huge kill, because if Sway dies there, Goons has main lobby control. And that round's over.
So many in these last few rounds where it really feels like it could be make or break for both of these teams, yet they continue to defy expectations left and right. ECLECTIQ now looking to defy those expectations once again and get a couple of these opening picks and continue throwing these rounds in their advantage. That has been something they have done phenomenally so far. Even on the rounds that One Shot have able to squeak out, it seems that ECLECTIQ start things off strong. They'll be looking to do that again here in round number 10. We can see the intel trying to drone out and now force out Storms with a couple of nades. Storms having died that way in the last round, he'll be definitely a little bit more wary about those frags as they come around the other side of the wall, but now he'll have to be wary of a couple of bullets as well. He'll actually go for the wide swing, but unable to get that kill, but a good crossfire set up between him and Slippery will get the next. Slippery as well, we'll see the back of Z. Diana just not checking her angles and falling as a result. It'll be an even 3v3.
That was an interesting push there from the attack into library, and as Goons fires away at the Melusi Banshee, well, the Jaeger whiffs all of his shots. Haiku punishes him for that, but at least Goons goes down to Kilo, who was still downstairs. We're at an even 2v2. Well, I say even, but Semi is very, very low, dangerously so, I might add. Just 1 HP. And with Haiku being the man with the case, it's going to largely be on this Thatcher to cover. And I don't really know if he's got the wherewithal, that longevity to fight against both Quartz and Kilo. Quartz with 2 gas canisters, one of which will actually kill Semi, and Kilo with a C4. Now it's all on Haiku. He's going to try and take the prone angle, but he can't see Kilo behind the wall, the Goyo. Again, playing very safe. One shot have slowed down, and Kilo's actually prepped the C4. This could be a very nice lineup if he lands it. I believe slightly over the wall in through the doorway. As Haiku smokes out, he's going to just try and plant shallow on the breach, and Kilo's going to start rushing up. He'll rip the C4 bait off the plant, and though Haiku avoids it, the timing is no longer on his side. The cover of the smoke will dwindle away, and he's got to take these fights raw. Another gas canister goes out. He's trapped right in the middle of it. He eats a lot of damage, and there's still those shields up because ECLECTIQ never did a proper clear. And as he walks in, he'll see the Goyo's feet and still lose the fight. That early smoke damage punishing him, and one shot put themselves on map point.
Yeah, Harrison, when you assess that situation and it was that 2v2, but Semi had 1 HP and there was still 3 toxic smokes and a nitro cell in the pocket of one shot, I wholeheartedly agreed with you. It was just about over because the 1 HP player, there was no way that one of those smokes wasn't going to just barely get a tick of damage off on him. And, well, we saw that happen.
One sniff,
he quickly went down. Just a quick little inhale, took one breath. Yeah, he was taken care of almost instantly. And even then, there were still 2 smokes left and a C4. And Haiku, he had to avoid them on 3 separate occasions. And even if he had 30 seconds to try to initially get that plant down and 2 smokes to cover himself, he could not avoid all 3 pieces of that valuable utility and still get the bomb down in time, eventually just resorting to take that gunfight with Kilo, and we saw how that went. So, despite looking a bit rocky in the middle here, One Shot have remedied some of those problems, and yes, they've emerged on match point. It's 6-4, that's back-to-back defensive wins for them, and they'll be heading to Kitchen and Dining in an effort of closing things out on ECLECTIQ's map pick. As much praise as we've given ECLECTIQ, they really want to win this Chalet map if they want to have any sort of chance, of taking the series overall, but their focus here is making a statement, and I've got to admit, no matter the result of these next few rounds, no matter the result of Bank, I think they've made a statement so far, Harrison. What about you?
Yeah, ECLECTIQ have definitely pleasantly surprised me. I have been impressed with their play. Again, while they're down 6-4, they're down 6-4 against the 3rd place Challenger League team and the 2nd place team from the SI Open Qual up against PB. So, very well done to them so far. And also, by the way, Jenna, I did notice on that bar attack, Z was in fact already in the building before he stepped on the frost mat.
Brutal.
So, yeah.
That's brutal.
But we're going to move past it. That was 2 rounds ago. Now we are on the dining attack for ECLECTIQ, and they'll spot the castle, but not get the kill. Goons! You got to land more shots than that, man. And although Slippery goes down, he is recoverable by Kilo. So, really, ECLECTIQ will miss out on 2 opportunities there. I mean, damage done to Slip, but still, a kill, maybe even another on the Kilo would have been real nice.
Yeah, Slippery will now be precariously low on health, though, for the remainder of that round. So at least for ECLECTIQ, that could be one saving grace. And Goons will nearly spot out another player. I do believe that is Kilo, who is just ducking his way around this top floor extension for the moment. Z as well will now be on the hunt for, not frags, but some information, trying to see if any defender has, still extended themselves up into piano or office. But after a lot of pressure has been felt by this one-shot defense early on, they've backed off and played a little bit more passively. Slip is now the most extended defender, positioned in closet by a soft wall, quite risky for a player who only has about 1 bullet's worth of HP remaining, but as long as ECLECTIQ don't know he's there, this is still a very powerful position to hold. But it seems like he's been spotted because he is going to start to back off, take a long angle, and hope to win out this gunfight. No? Maybe he'll reposition. Still unknown. ECLECTIQ talked about the information game. They've got to make sure they spot him, because if not, that will not only be a missed frag, but it could result in several deaths on their own attacking side.
Speaking of frag, the Iana sends one in. It does a little bit more damage to Kilo, but they've got no idea the Aruni's here, and he lines up 2! Slippery, despite the low HP, goes huge, and a lack of info on the side of the attack punishes them heavily. Z's now getting lit up from the shotgun, I believe, of Storms, who is also upstairs. And although Kilo is down, he's been picked up. And Slippery's on for 3, looking for a 4th, but finally shut down by Z. The Iana taking a close fight against the SMG-11, loses it out, though the window player gets a trade. But Goons jumping in. He's lit up by the castle. They know exactly where this Finca is, and Goons might not be long for this world. He's alone in a 1v3. He's got case control. Swalin's downstairs waiting for him, and Kilo falls off the top floor. That kill no longer within the Finca's grasp. But as he hops down to the lobby, he does not expect Sway there. One shot on round 11. Take the map, 7-4.
That was a hell of an effort from ECLECTIQ, I've got to say, but in the end, one shot, they will close it out. 7-4, the 3-round margin, not as convincingly as we may have expected, but at the end of the day, they finished with a strong round where ECLECTIQ just could not, at the very least, clear out that top floor extension. We saw a brilliant play from Slippery. This could turn out to be a real problem, and it certainly was. Not what One Shot wanted to do to start necessarily their SCS6 experience, but in the end, they closed out their opponent's map pick, and that's a good way to begin.
Yeah, One Shot looking good. I mean, we already know them to be a pretty decent Chalet team, and they really proved it. Though, I think, again, like you had said during the map, I think we all know now why ECLECTIQ picked this. Going 7-4 against a top Challenger League team is no easy feat. And again, as a team that we know nothing about, I mean, hey, maybe these guys have been together for 2.5 years and I just never heard of them. But as a team that we have never heard of, we have to assume that they're relatively new, relatively inexperienced, at the very least, at this level. And they showed up. 4 rounds on One Shot. 4 rounds that actually all looked pretty good as well. And they had plenty of chances to close out other rounds. We may have seen a different scoreline if ECLECTIQ just played a little bit tighter. But again, it's that perseverance from One Shot, the experience shining through to keep those clutch situations under control. And with Chalet being won by One Shot, we now move on to the Challenger League team's map pick of Bank, which is a much more complex map than Chalet.
Yeah, Bank coming up next. That's going to be an entirely different battle for ECLECTIQ to face down. And before we get there, a huge shout out to one of our amazing sponsors, Mike and Ike. You can take your candy game to the next level with a pack of Mike and Ike Original Fruits or Mike and Ike Mega Mix. The delicious, fruity, chewy flavors will help fuel your game and power you up to keep playing at your best. You can power up with Mike and Ike, and of course, a huge shout out to our amazing sponsor for SCX6. But SCS6, we are going to head over to Bank, but not before we take a couple of minutes to take a couple of words from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Hey, I go by Swalen, and I play for One Shot. Obviously, I think it's super important because, during that off season, you just have months on months of just kind of sitting around, not doing much, mainly just scrimming, and, it can get pretty boring. A lot of players can, lose motivation, so it's really nice to have something to, I guess, kind of grind towards and play for, during that little break in between. Obviously there's a lot of talent in the T3 scene, especially with all the, I guess players that aren't 18 yet that you just don't really get to see as much as you see in the T2 scene, because some of them just play, pretty crazy. They just kind of do whatever they feel like doing. Then, other teams try to play more structured. It just comes down to how well we're going to be able to adapt. I mean, Kilo really brought on a pretty big leadership role for us, especially during playoffs. It really showed when we went down in a series. He really just made sure that all of our mentals were still good to go, and we just, kept going. Of course, obviously he brings that pro league experience. Immediately, when he first joined the team, you could just see it. He made sure that we were all on top of it. We're just doing what we needed to do to get to where we wanted to be. You don't really know, and it's not as easy for players to, I guess, get their name out there in the T3 scene. It took me 2 years to even get to T2. Having these little competitions where, these talented players get to showcase what they're capable of is, I think, really important for growing and developing, the T3, T2 scenes. Probably that we just kind of keep our heads down. I guess don't let egos get in the way. I think there's, a lot of teams out there that are held back by the egos that they have, not being able to realize what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. We are able to focus more on what we need to work on and just get better that way. Obviously, it'd be huge. It's a ton of exposure. You get to compete against, some of the best teams in the world and really just get to showcase what you and your team are capable of. I think these teams can really mix things up. There's always upsets, T2, T3, everywhere. There's upsets all the time. I think it's really fun to watch when what's considered, I guess, an underdog team can just go out and just destroy like another team that is supposed to be winning. I like to go to the gym a lot. I like to sleep. Pretty much the same thing. I like to go to the gym, you know, and it's kind of like a stress reliever in a way. And I like to take my dog for walks. The main game that I play outside of Siege is Valorant right now. Playing a lot of Battlefield as well. That's about it.
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering 1 more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The grand finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's going to come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the drop 3. Stunning here from
Welcome back, everyone. If you missed map 1 between One Shot and the newcomers of ECLECTIQ, you missed a show. ECLECTIQ actually taking 4 rounds. We got the replays here for you as well. And although we've never seen them before, they certainly impressed.
They did. We saw a lot of flashy plays from them. I mean, even starting from those very first few rounds in the map as a whole, we saw rounds where ECLECTIQ didn't win, but they were damn near close. We saw a couple of great runouts. You can see it from Goons just going for aggressive plays left and right, and that aggression paid off for 4 rounds at least. A very solid, defensive half. I mean, 2 rounds to start. That's more than enough to get the job done. And then starting out really strong on the attack, forcing One Shot onto the back foot. They took a timeout, and well, unfortunately for ECLECTIQ, One Shot successfully regrouped. But a beautiful way to start the split. I think ECLECTIQ defied expectations, and now, heading towards Bank, we gotta take a look at what we can expect here as well. We've got some stats to pull up. We can see, how exactly these players broke things down, but really impressive performances from pretty much everybody across the board.
Of course, Kilo being our highest rated player of the lobby. Well done to him. He had some incredible performances in Challenger League, and it seems like that trend is going to continue in SCS. Quartz as well. Typically on the support role, I think having some of the least kills in Challenger League in the last season, but stepping it up here, 10-4 on the smoke. On the flip side, though, on ECLECTIQ, the scoreboard is even, 6-5-4-4-3, but while the rounds they were winning were very well done, One Shot was still keeping it very tight. Most of those rounds still having only, 1 or 2 players left alive for the attack, or for ECLECTIQ. But ECLECTIQ still, I think, performed way better than any of us thought they would. But that was Chalet. That was their map pick. That's a map that you can kind of play that fast style on. But now we go on to Bank, a map that One Shot have chosen and are likely very practiced on as they're in Challenger League, and I'm worried that this map with the playstyle that it lends itself to might blindside ECLECTIQ.
Yeah, Bank is an entirely different beast. It's the what have people been calling it? The love child between Consulate and Coastline, is it?
People have been saying that?
So everyone gives like Bank the
I don't know.
Consulate references.
I'm not gonna lie. Bank feels almost the same as it did before,
Yeah.
and I kind of hate it, but I mean we don't see it a lot, so I get
Yeah,
it there.
that's what makes a map like this special, right? It can get slow at points and it can get a bit dry, but if you don't see it very often, it's pretty fun to see exactly how it plays out. We can take a look at our operator bands first and foremost and see, what kind of Bank we've got in front of us, and maybe these teams are going to shake things up and make it a little bit more interesting. In terms of operator bans, we usually know what to expect, as we do on all maps. The Thatcher is hated on attack, the Mira is hated, and the Valkyrie is hated on defense. We might see those Flores bans as well, and it looks like we're actually going to see the Habana as the first operator taken off the board. Pretty standard, as there are a lot of hatches in play, especially for that basement site. The defense doesn't want to deal with those X-Kairos pellets opening all those hatches in just about an instant. But the second ban is going to be a little surprising, because it's also going to be a hard breacher. Thermite is gone, leaving the only hard breach now in the hands of the Maverick and the hands of the Ace. Of course, you can bring a secondary hard breach gadget, but attacking teams, they're going to be limited here.
Yeah, and the Cade ban too pretty much makes it so that Thatcher might not be run at all. It's probably just going to be seeing the Maverick. I like ECLECTIQ's idea in banning that Thermite because, I mean, again, leaving that Maverick up means you're going to be running him, and makes it that the Thatcher is kind of useless, right? You leave Thatcher up, but what the hell are you going to do with him now with no Cade and Maverick? And Maverick's just kind of the better option because, I mean, you're going to need to bring him anyway to open those hatches on the basement attacks. So I like the idea. Frees up an operator slot. The thing about Bank, though, is that I have seen a lot of teams start doing back takes. And in doing a back take, you don't actually need too many hatches open. But we're going to have a very different defense. This is something that we used to see a lot on Bank. Actually, we saw it at, I remember, Invite 2020. SSG were running a lot of this roam. It's kind of almost like the SSG roam on Clubhouse, but on Bank instead, with Castle, the Mozzie, the Mute, the Vigil. Plenty of drone denial centered around that middle floor towards open area and archives. With, of course, the rotate over by main stairs. You can't forget that to allow ease of access between Marble and into Tellers. So this is a very old style of defense on lockers. And while they're not utilizing any new operators, I'm sure people have adjusted how they play it to fit with the times. Though ECLECTIQ, they've got an ECLECTIQ lineup, if I can use that pun. Iana is really their only solidified entry. They're bringing a Buck as their soft breacher, who doesn't really see a lot of play on this map. And they've got Jackal Lion to aid in that roam clear. But while they have a lot of stuff to aid with the roam clear, they've also got a Monty, which tells me they want to just push fast into sight.
Well, look at
Which
that.
it looks
Here
like
they
they're
come.
gonna do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Semi at the helm. He'll take the
What?
first engagement. Storms is gone on
Oh,
the
the
hatch
hatch?
above. Haiku will now just walk in as the brick wall of the Monty, and the smoke is going to be too late. The Monty's not going to care, and he's going to push all the way up. Whips out the pistol, and Quartz takes a bit of damage here. Haiku finally threatened from above. Kilo will step up and prove helpful, almost critical in that endeavor, because One Shot have already lost 2 players and are extremely vulnerable to this rush. But ECLECTIQ, if they slow down here, they could get in a bit of trouble because they've overextended themselves and they just got to work their way back to site. Just kidding.
Okay.
Duke is going to fry 2 more players. Quartz on 1 HP is the last player standing. Just like that, it is all up to the smoke with no toxic babes and a miracle. He'll take 1, but not the second as Z finishes him off from below. And that is a crisp early round from ECLECTIQ. They want to keep things loose. They want to get aggressive, and it's going to pay off in round number 1.
Was it like every time I say, I don't know how ECLECTIQ are going to fare, they might not really do well this round, they just completely blow me out of the water.
Yeah, we should just
And then
shut
whenever I
up.
praise them, they start losing. I don't know what these people want from it. It's like they're fitting right into their org name. But that was beautiful. That was incredible. Not only do they take a server direct with the Monty pushing in, slamming Storms off the hatch, getting 2 entry picks, but simultaneously clear square, figuring, hey, they've got the server hatch open. This is obviously what they're going to be playing for. Once we start taking server, they're going to start scrambling towards square. The roamers want to come fall back. They're either going to get shoved back down into the site, in which, we can just have a Monty stare at them. Excuse me. Or they're going to try and retake square to take, command of that hatch and just shoot Monty in the back. So they have a simultaneous square clear from Duke, and I believe it was Duke and Z, to prevent that exact thing from happening. And Duke ended up killing both of those people trying to retake. Beautiful. From ECLECTIQ. I mean, I couldn't have planned that better myself. And now, sure, we're going to have the same lockers defense. It's going to be one shot once it got on the SSG roam. ECLECTIQ with a similar operator lineup, but this time they've dropped the Iana, and now they bring a Ying. So are they going to be even faster?
I mean, that's what it looks like, right? I mean, Goons saw how well that strategy worked last time, assuming that One Shot go for a similar setup and try to waste as much time as we saw before. Maybe we'll see the same thing. Yeah, it looks like Storms went for a good old run out over towards the back alley spawn, and Haiku, he's a Monty. He's got a shield, and he's only going to take, I don't know, about 30 HP worth of damage for his troubles. So the Monty will still be a factor. Storm's C4, however, will not. A piece of utility that he would certainly like back. I mean, thankfully, you still have another C4 to use. That's going to be in the Mozzie's hands. Swalen is going to bring that one out, and well, he may actually get into an early engagement here. You've got Duke now working his way up. I believe that's Storms sitting in paper right now. Not going to swing on the hallway because Duke has a watchful eye on that position. He will remain ready to go in case somebody swings on into the hallway itself. Swalen upstairs also to support his teammate. The Mute Mozzie combo to deny this intel. Not only is it good at that, it's good at finding some kills as well. Swalen quickly getting that frag onto the first, and Semi is gone as well. Kilo taking him out with the UMP, and this round has started very differently. I do think, though, Harrison, you were right in predicting that this slow game, it benefits One Shot. They're using it to their advantage right now, and while they will lose a pick back in return, so far things are going well. It's a 4v3.
Yeah, ECLECTIQ completely switch up their push and go for a main top square pinch on the roamers upstairs, but it doesn't work out at all because it looked like they were intel starved. You talked about the Mozzie and the Mute being very good at that, and I just don't think they knew Swalen was front desk at all, seeing as how it looked like it appeared that Goons was hitting the Shift W up spiral. So really confusing execute on those roamers from ECLECTIQ. They do have pings on this guy inside of Tellers, and Z will land his second kill of the round to even the man count. So it is a lot better now from ECLECTIQ, but things just didn't really need to start off that way if they just took their time a little bit more. Now, luckily for them, HP is on their side. Storms is very lit up, far more than Z is, and they've still got their Monty. Haiku is alive and well, pretty healthy too, and the only things that can stop him, the only things that could reasonably stop him, are those gas grenades. And if Haiku can just avoid those, they'll be sitting pretty, but he's going to drop, just action Monty his way down the hatch, pistol in hand. He'll get headshotted, but I guess Z is there for the trade. A little messy, but I guess it gets the job done. But now Z is stuck inside of Red in a crossfire. He'll die to slip. And Duke, trying to come in from the other side at the same time, he was stumped by a castle barricade and couldn't come to the aid of his teammate. He's now in a 1 versus 2. Quartz is prone watching footholes. Slippery in his garage. And there's only 10 seconds left. This is going to be pretty much it for Duke as he starts to go through the gas. He'll choke some in, and Quartz puts him out of his misery. One shot take round number 2. ECLECTIQ almost had a brilliant recovery, but that down the hatch play, questionable at best.
Yeah, when you get aggressive like that, you're hoping that a play can not only get a couple of kills, but completely send the defense into shambles. And as we've talked about before, One Shot are a team that no matter the adversity they're facing in any given moment, they are never going to go full flustered, confused mode. They are going to maintain their composure, and even if they lose a player along the way, they're not going to worry about forcing those kills back in their favor if they have an even man count. And what results a lot of times from those aggressive plays, even if you get a kill, again, all of a sudden you're trapped. You're advanced too far into the site and you don't have the support of a teammate. That is exactly what we saw in Z's case. Didn't have somebody right, on his shoulder supporting one of his crossfires. And what he had done was he walked into that exact thing. He walked into a crossfire being held by One Shot, and One Shot knew that. They didn't panic. They didn't try to force themselves into an engagement they knew they would have a disadvantage in. They played together. They caught Z out, and they were able to get that advantage back in their favor, forcing a 2 versus 1 and cleaning out the round as a result. So playing the slow game, forcing ECLECTIQ to work their way into that roam, it paid off. Yes, it wasn't a dominant round, but One Shot will take it regardless and tie us up at 1-1 overall. Now, seeing the result of that round, I wonder if ECLECTIQ are going to try to force that aggression almost at all costs at this point. We saw how well it worked in that first round and how troubling the results were in the second when they tried to clear out the roam in a more default way.
Haiku's been playing this Monty aggressively too, and I don't really know if I agree with that. But, I mean, whatever. How he wants to play it. ECLECTIQ are going to start their clear all 5 from main lobby through ATM. There's no one on defense that can directly challenge them. Quartz is on his way, though, with the Vector as he now hides inside of Elevator. Interesting play from ECLECTIQ. A lot of times, these clears will at least have somebody over towards Marble, over towards Square, maybe even pushing the other side of the downstairs, but they're just full front on the north, and, well, they're going to get caught off guard by Kilo because there's no drones. That's kind of been a common theme for a lot of ECLECTIQ's attacks, even back on Chalet, is that sometimes they get really ahead of themselves, and they walk in front of the drones, they walk in blind. So that's an easy double kill for Kilo to start the round off. Z and Goons never knew what hit him.
Yeah, now the danger is Kilo is going to have a ton of confidence, not only in taking gunfights, but how he's positioning. Right now, holding a very aggressive position in top square. Not only that, but going for the run out. Top ropes, gets the kill onto Semi, and there was no doubt about it. Semi had no idea that was coming, and the aggression from Kilo, it's going to go unpunished, because he's going to be able to get away. Both Duke and Haiku are focused elsewhere, trying to just deal with the pressure that is flooding their way from Quartz, Slippery, and Storms, all of whom know exactly where this pressure is coming from, and they're looking to get aggressive. Now, Haiku, he'll spot out Slippery, who was seemingly just standing still upstairs on the balcony. He says he was looking at his phone. Yes, it did seem like he was AFK, so he'll die, and things will get a little bit closer to even, but Storms recovering from the death of his teammate. Now Haiku last alive. Kilo sprinting around the corner will secure a quad kill. Dastardly plays from the Bandit, but well-timed aggression for One Shot will extend their lead by 1.
Yeah, questionable play from ECLECTIQ. Again, just kind of starting with the lack of info, walking directly into the Bandit. That was not smart. And from there, attempting to 3-man push up spiral stairs when the entire defense is looking that way, that's impossible. I mean, you're just not going to win that. There's no world in which you win that. I'm sorry. So, One Shot are now up 2-1. And lest we forget, this is One Shot's map pick, so they did not choose to start defense. ECLECTIQ opted for the attack, and I think that's kind of been the tradition with New Bank, is that it is rather attacker-sided, but we're not seeing that right now in this map. After that one confident round we had from ECLECTIQ, it's been pretty questionable.
I like that you mentioned the Monty play in the previous round, Harrison, and that's something I want to bring up again. You highlighted, is the aggressive Monty really the move? And I'm not sure I know the answer to that, but I do think there are a couple of issues with the way Haiku's playing this right now that could be remedied, right? We're seeing that Monty come into effect in the late round, but oddly enough, other than round number 1, it seems like Haiku is taking up the rear, doesn't it? I mean, in that round just then, he wasn't at the helm of that push clearing out Kilo in Tellers. He was behind, maybe droning out his teammates, not providing the brick wall support that he can be. When you just walk into a room as a Monty, you command attention and you command and force the defenders to just run away, because they know that there's going to be an attacker swinging immediately behind that Monty shield, ready to take their head off with a ton of intel, because Monty's going to be constantly pinging them.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right. I mean, talk about the issues with the Monty. A couple of issues elsewhere, as it seems Duke is going to get team killed, possibly just trying to spray a barricade open, and the problems, well, they are only going to get worse for ECLECTIQ. One Shot will continue the aggression There's another kill. Semi is gone as well. And if one of these players is a Monty, that's another gun that you really wish you could have back if you're Eclectic. It's just going to be Z and Goons really to do the job of the fragging from this point forward in this round. And oh dear, look at this intel that One Shot are working with as well from below. That C4 from Kilo, though, not on the mark, and it's not going to find anything just yet.
Well, it's a pre-placed, waiting for the call from Slip Pulse. He sees two more bodies. Well, Slip knows exactly where every single man on the attack is. Two upstairs, one now on the window, giving his position away with the fire. But here comes one swing. Swaylin goes down. Still a 3 versus 4. Kilo is pretty significantly damaged, though. He's very low, about 1 shot's worth of HP. The alarming thing here is that it's taken about a minute and a half for Eclectic to clear the top floor, right? And although the top floor is clear, it's kind of like, you know, now what? What do? You don't have any soft breach. You're not going to flush out any anchors. They're breaching over open because there was not only a vertical but a horizontal extension as well. And you're down a man. And one's a Monty who can't really shoot back. Tough situation right now for the attack.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's going to be how well they work off this Monty and if they can use his lack of gun to an advantage. It's tough when you're in a disadvantage like this already, but somehow they're going to have to pull this one back. Goons will start things off well because Quartz is busy looking elsewhere, and well, his head will be taken right off. And just like that, we're in an even 3v3. Kilo being at so low health at this point as well. It may be a lot more even than we think. Here comes Z rounding the corner on main stairs. Kilo is finished off. Now it's a 2v3, quickly favoring Eclectic on the attack. Storms will be wary of a push coming into Archives. Here it comes wide. It's going to be the Monty, but Z behind the Monty will be no longer for this world. Haiku actually tempting the plant here, and that will encourage both Slippery and Storms to get a move on, but Haiku will think twice. With 15 seconds left, he knows he has to make a decision, and that decision is going to be a hunt for these frags. Storms gets a miracle SMG-11 headshot onto Haiku. Goons alone in Archives. This one is going to get messy. He'll sprint through the doorway, whip out the Gone 6, but that is not going to get the job done. He will quickly fall in one shot. Although it got a bit messy in the mid-round, they will close it out and once again extend their lead.
What? Why did Haiku do that? There was just no need. That was a thrown round. I'm going to say it right now.
Ooh.
I thought Eclectic were done for. And then One Shot decided to give them 1v1s. Whether it was lack of intel or just... Well, the first one was lack of intel. Quartz had no idea that... I think it was... that Z was there. And then... Kilo just walked up the stairs in the line of fire of the Jackal. Actually, I don't even remember. Who the hell was Iana? Goons. Sorry. Quartz didn't know Goons was there. And then Kilo walked right into the line of fire of the Jackal. It was a 3v2. Even when you lose Z like that. And it's just Haiku and Goons. That is so winnable. Like, those last two defenders, I mean, sure, they were kind of... Who decides, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk at this guy unshielded. I'm going to walk at this guy who has an SMG-11 and a shotgun. Two of the best close quarters weapons in the game with my shield now, instead of waiting for my teammate. Like, and then I think he swapped too, right before he died. Like, the reason why the shield wasn't in front of him anymore, I think he swapped by accident. So that was some of the worst Monty play I have ever seen. And so far the Monty play has not been a highlight. I mean, Eclectic's attacks were real good on Chalet. They have looked absolutely lost here, with the exception of round number 1.
I think we're at a point, though, Harrison, where Eclectic need to think out of the box. And whether that is returning to the aggression of round number 1 or coming in with some more unique operator picks, I think both could get the job done. We're seeing Semi. He's going to pick out the Nook here, which is a bold move, to say the least. Very unique operator with not a lot of fragging potential, but with a lot of surprise potential. But guess who can surprise his attacking team as well? That's Slippery creeping down below. looks like Z may have an idea about this. After collecting that opening kill onto Kilo on the square staircase here, he knows there may be somebody lurking around in position to what would have been support his teammate. A skirmish down below will actually occur because it seems that Swaylin was perfectly aware of the Nook trying to creep her way through Garage, and that play from Semi was, well, nothing but a failure. Now Slippery spotted out, just I believe his ankle exposed from above, and Z will make quick work of the Vigil as well. So despite losing the Nook on that odd play through Garage, ECLECTIQ will maintain the advantage.
So ECLECTIQ's attack, a little bit better so far, kind of off the back of Z getting 2 kills. The rest of One Shot are on the site, and now we'll see if ECLECTIQ, actually execute properly this time with a one-man advantage. Now, they have plenty of time. Got a minute 12. Those hatches aren't reinforced either, so they'll go down easy to the breaching charges of Duke. Quartz also very low HP, though Storms does have a C4 he can use to try and counteract this plant. Haiku is now pushed all the way up to the doorway by his lonesome. He doesn't have any assistance as someone from ECLECTIQ now moves towards the marble stairs. That's Goons with his scanner out, making sure there's no utility in his way. Although Swaylin might have a couple goo mines at the ready to stop this IQ in his tracks. As Goons starts to push down, Swaylin's gonna start the swing, deal some damage to Goons. That'll force Goons to back off just for a second, but he'll start pushing down once again. Storms has the C4 ready, but can he get in? Especially with this hatch open, it's gonna be dangerous as Goons loses his fight to Swaylin. The man count now even, and Haiku, the Monty, is the man with the diffuser, so he's still susceptible to the C4, but no! Storms will miss! That'll cost precious seconds, but he'll still throw it, but it goes way too wide! He thinks it's shallow on the other breach, but Haiku snuck in, and now we're in post.
Z now on the coverage, Duke from above. Against a Monty in this retake One Shot, it is not looking good. They're going to have to get aggressive, and they've got to do it fast. Here's why. They're coming upstairs, and they're covering a lot of ground to hunt for these frags. Swaylin at the helm, trying to track down Duke, but he knows when he rounds this corner, it is not going to look good. Duke will take down both Storms and Swaylin, leaving a 1 HP Quartz to fend for himself below. He'll look up through that hatch in an act of desperation, but Duke will secure the triple kill and finish out the round for ECLECTIQ. A shame that C4 missed for One Shot, because if it had connected, we may be looking at a very different result.
Oh, it would have been completely different. That C4 was supposed to be a round changer. But again, lack of intel on where the plant was going down. They thought it was on the far wall when it was in reality right behind the desk. Now Monty was able to get it down, and even if the other teammates had died, I'm sure they would have at least traded themselves out. And a post fight against a Monty is a very difficult thing to accomplish. So ECLECTIQ's attack, much slower. Didn't get caught off guard by those defender positions, which was something different considering the last couple rounds. Big entry by Z also enabling that. So, well done. ECLECTIQ seemed to have, at least in that round, fixed a couple of their issues. But now they're going to be the ones taking this timeout. The coach Koala has called it, kind of seeing what's going on with ECLECTIQ. And although the team has won, I definitely think it's a good time for a timeout to get this last attack, because as Bank's been fairly attacker-sided so far. So if ECLECTIQ don't at least tie up the half, might not be looking good for him heading onto their defense, especially, again, against a much, much more experienced team.
Yeah, they very much know that, and that's why they're pulling out the timeout now. Even after, it may surprise you, they just won the round. Why take a timeout here? They really need this last round, because we know when One Shot come out on their attacking side, they are going to come out with a fervor. At least one could expect. Again, we've seen ECLECTIQ pull out rounds we didn't expect here and there, and that is exactly what we could be seeing, even as things shake up to One Shot on the attack. But still one more round for One Shot on the defense. One more round for ECLECTIQ to make sure they can get these attacks going well, and it seems they've got a theoretical solution to the problems they've been having. No more Nook. They're going to stick with the Monty, but they're going to add a Finka into the mix. Goons returning to this operator. I believe we saw her a couple of times on our first map of Chalet, but I do believe that is the first time we're going to see her out on Bank, and maybe that aspect is exactly what ECLECTIQ need. My one worry here is that I know you've got the Jackal, but sacrificing the Yana for that Finka means that the intel game could be put in jeopardy. And we know how badly ECLECTIQ's attacks have gone when their intel is a bit all over the place. The Jackal will assist that. You can take a look, see whose footprints have been going over which way and whatever, but that's not quite first, like maybe the intel you need when you're going for an execute. It's great for a roam clear, but when you're pushing into a site, it really helps to have somebody walk in, get that camera going. And the fact that ECLECTIQ have already lost 3 drones and we're not even 30 seconds in, now 4 drones, things, or 3 still, actually, math. Things maybe not looking the best for them.
Yeah, the operator selection of the Finka, we'll see if it pays off. As one shot, you know, the Echo was banned in the previous map. Quartz will don him on the very last defense. And ECLECTIQ have been taking a bit of time, and especially with how sometimes little their intel game is. What?
Monty's dead.
They knew he was there. There's literally a drone at Quartz's feet. Why is Haiku... You don't have anyone with you! Why are you there? You're Monty!
It's okay. It's gonna be fine. They can bounce back. A nade could do it for them. Kilo, no, he'll remain alive behind the desk in main lobby. This is that aggressive position from Kilo that is quite risky, but, well, it won't work for him, but it works enough to distract his teammates, allowing them to get the kill. Now, Goons and Duke will take down Slippery, who also went for just a bold lobby play in an effort to assist Kilo, who had already been down. Bold, don't get me wrong, but it will pay off for the attack in the end. Now, Swaylen, he'll respond, though. He'll take care of Semi. It's Duke and Goons who just, again, got those 2 kills onto the aggressive play from Slippery and Kilo below. But they're on low HP. Goons only has 1 more of those Finka boosts remaining. This one is not going to be easy, considering they have dropped the diffuser in Quartz's line of sight. Again, your frustration, Harrison, I'll echo that, because not only did Haiku push all by himself, but he took the diffuser and handed it to Quartz on a silver platter.
I guarantee they saw that they had the drone up there and Haiku was right there. He was like, yo, man, I have a free pick. And then died. And then Semi! Duke and Goons are downstairs, Semi! Why are you swinging into the site, man? And Goons and Duke figure, hey, LMG is going to be enough. We'll separate. We'll go opposite sides, try and pinch out these players, but I don't really know if you can really count that as a pinch when you're 3 miles away from each other, 1 on marble, 1 on square, and Goons is downstairs with 13 seconds left, probably talking to the team saying, hey guys, maybe let's not do that again if this goes to a 3rd map. If that, because One Shot are about to take a 4-2 defensive half on Bank. I mean, no further comment.
Not the best round for ECLECTIQ. I think we can summarize your comments with that. One Shot, they played aggressive that round. They knew they had the edge from the moment Haiku threw his life away. They played like madmen, and it paid off because ECLECTIQ were already in shambles. You saw how disjointed they became. You highlighted Semi's play as the Lion running all the way up into the site by himself. Another one of those question marks that we will not quite have an answer for just yet. But whatever we learned from that first half, let's just throw it out the window, because both of these teams are switching sides. Maybe ECLECTIQ will be more composed on defense, and hell, maybe we will see a defender-sided Bank. Doubtful, but you never know. Now, on the side of One Shot, they are going to come out and continue the aggression we saw actually played in that last round, with some aggression indicated by their operator selection here. Storms is pulling out the Amaru, whatever you want to call her. She's good at getting in the building quickly, and that could be One Shot's plan here.
It'd actually be really funny if it goes the right way. So,
10 seconds left.
One Shot are bringing a proper hard breacher, not just the hard breach charges. They've got the ace. They're bringing the sledge, which was maybe sorely missed on ECLECTIQ's lineup. The ECLECTIQ are also bringing the Mira. So, Mira is not something that One Shot played at all on their downstairs defenses, and they didn't really need to. They went 2-1 on it. Or wait, no, they went 1-2 on it. So hey, maybe the Mira could have been useful. But they wanted to play into the roam instead, which is understandable. ECLECTIQ want to play a little bit more heavy on site with only 1 roamer, maybe 2. I don't know if Goons is in square or not. But Goons is all the way upstairs. They know he's here, and as such, he's going to go ahead, shoot the drone, and then immediately die. Because Storms was Storms? He wasn't repelled, right?
I think he was just on the
Okay, because
skylight.
I heard the glass break, and I think somewhere among the glass breaking sound effect, I thought I heard like the zip of the rappel like being ended. I just got a little concerned for a sec. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. He was just on.
Yeah, I think the sound of the glass breaking came as we heard those bullets fly. He saw the player below and just dealt with him accordingly. Yes, I sure hope he wasn't repelled, because that would have been rough for ECLECTIQ if they lost another player from a maneuver like that. But only losing one player so far, not the end of the world, as long as they find a way to get this advantage back. Is that going to be from aggression or from passivity? I think maybe a combination of both, because we see Semi pretty aggressively extended, looking to deal with Quartz as he drops down. Not going for the swing just yet, but taking a pretty aggressive position, and I think being spotted out. Now 2 players will converge on his position, and, well, Slippery will make sure that Semi doesn't stand a chance. That's 2 rounds back-to-back where Semi bit off a little bit more than he could chew. And that means One Shot will return to an even further advantage of a 5 versus 3. Now, the remaining defenders will be on the site. Duke has since backed off of his aggressive position in square. He's going to stay downstairs in CCTV, joined by both Haiku and Z. We'll be hoping to lock down this site for the next 60 seconds, but they are about to face an onslaught of One Shot, who have now opened up the hatches from above, or about to open up this latch hatch here over in open area, and it is about to get quite destructive.
I guess they don't really need the hatch over CCTV open all the way. You just need that sight line down, and I'm sure that covers where the default plant is. But they're going to have to get to that plant first, and they'll have to go through Z, who is on the marble stairs. And they won't be able to do so, at least not yet. Slippery goes down, and now Storms is very aware of the hatch above him, as the defender could potentially lord over it. But you still got Kilo upstairs, looking to flush out this Mira. Storms eventually gets that Wamai, who is going for the flank. Now it's a 4 versus 2, making it 3v2, as Duke finds one. There's only 12 seconds left. One Shot are now extremely pressed for time. Kilo just drops in. Haiku, easy frag for him. Even man count, 5 seconds left. Storms dies with the case, and Quartz has no info. ECLECTIQ take round number 7. Despite the messy roam and the good clear from One Shot in the beginning of the round, they stall out, and their execute goes completely by the wayside.
Yeah, what was that execute from One Shot? It seems like execute maybe isn't the right word for it. They didn't really have a cohesive push from any position. They tried to, get this sort of web of control established around the site. They checked that box. They did that. But instead of then grouping up and pushing from a couple of key positions in an effort to play the objective, they dropped in from like 4 different positions and took a couple of 1v1 engagements, almost baiting their teammates out in a couple of engagements as well. And what that resulted in was a lack of objective focus, hunting solely for the frags, which again has its time and its place for that. And they lost almost every single engagement, allowing ECLECTIQ to come back from a tremendous deficit in the middle of that round, kind of flipping the script from what we've been familiar with ECLECTIQ getting the advantage and One Shot clawing it back. This time it was One Shot giving up the edge that they had worked so hard to secure. A stellar roam clear. A brilliant job dealing with any extended players. They didn't even stand a chance on that roam, but allowing the remaining ECLECTIQ defenders sitting on the site to just tear them apart. Maybe One Shot waited a bit too long. Maybe they could have executed earlier and they just waited until the last few seconds so that once ECLECTIQ started to frag out, there simply wasn't enough time to track them down and deal with them. I'm not exactly sure. One of those issues, there's a couple of issues, that could have been the key factor why One Shot lost that round, but regardless, it was a great way to come back from ECLECTIQ.
I really got to question One Shot deciding, hey, there's 10 seconds left. Let's just drop the hatches. Yeah. They all just got caught. So, that was a wonderfully played 2v4 by Haiku and, I think it was Haiku and Duke. Well done. You keep your team alive. And you start to close the gap, just like we saw on Chalet. ECLECTIQ were able to tie it up 4-4, and One Shot kind of ran away from the game, or ran away with the game. But hey, Eclectic were able to tie it up, and that was cool. Simon's going to get droned out in Banana. Be forced to fall back a little bit, now very concerned with those windows. Quartz starting to lob nades in to destroy any utility. Well, we'll think about it. And nope, it's a drone instead. He wants to make sure that he's actually nading something and not nothing. And, well, good thing he's not going to waste it. But, oh, Melusi of Semi. Not aware of Storm starting to push in through lobby. Only one bullet will tag the Melusi's back, though. So Semi alive for now. And he'll be able to actually get away and perhaps even challenge Storms here.
Oh, well, Slippery is going to get dropped down. I think Hand of Duke is the reason for that, but Kilo, that is a nice wall bang. I believe that's through a couple of walls, at least through that paper wall, and he'll take the head of Duke. I believe they had some good intel there, and here comes Eclectic sprinting through the hallway.
You just got shot from it.
Storms is in a perfect position to shut him down. Haiku will also take a bit too much in that engagement, losing his head to Quartz. Now Z gets something back, but can't stop the plant from going down. It's a 2v4, and both Z and Goons have to deal with several players on the rappel and several players with boots on the ground in the building. And Swalen is just sitting prone, waiting for Z to walk down the long hall, and quickly deals with him. Last player, Goons, he spots out one, but he reveals his position, and now everyone from One Shot will be trained on the same place that they got the other frag. Goons will die just feet away from his teammate's body, and One Shot will take the round.
Yeah, I mean, that was... Well, first of all, well played from One Shot. I mean, that was a full window push. Nothing much to say about that. It was kind of stock standard. I'm kind of confused why Semi was sprinting into lobby when he just got shot there. So that was an easy kill for Storms, whose job was just to sit and wait for people to expose themselves. He eventually died, but it didn't really matter considering the plant had already gone down and Eclectic had nothing to answer with. And I mean, again, that's just One Shot knowing how to attack that site. And I mean, a lot of people used to say, right, Consulate Garage, oh, it's the hardest retake in the game in the Pro League map pool. But now that Consulate's out and Bank is in, retaking CEO against repelled players, I mean, unless you have the man advantage as the defense, it is impossible. You are just not winning that round unless the attack throws massively better than a baseball pitcher. So, One Shot are now up 5-3. They'll be attacking onto Teller's Archives instead. And I have to say, I imagine they'll have a much easier go of it because they've got a sled.
Right, I mean, they've got the nades now. They've got a lot of potential on that top-down clear, right? Once they clear out those roamers, there will be no safe place on the bomb site for Eclectic to hide. And that's why we're seeing so much focus being put on this extension. That's why the castle's in play. That's why the Aruni's in play. And why so much of this Eclectic defense is going to be geared up in open area. Holding open area, holding kitchen. That is vital for this defense because once that crumbles, once One Shot secure that, then there is literally no safe place for you to reside. You can't sit in square because that's a bloodbath. You can't sit in archives because of vertical pressure. Same thing goes for Tellers, which is also going to be pressured from above and also from main lobby. So the focus here from Eclectic, it's got to be on maintaining this map control, and Semi is going to be the weapon in that endeavor. He's got that intel. He's got that pulse scanner. He's just got to be wary about not overexposing himself to a position like Square, where Quartz has already worked his way in.
And unless this Pulse can, you know, find a frag himself with that C4 or assist well, never mind. Haiku's not going to be going for a C4 anytime soon. So unless the Pulse is able to find a frag with that C4, this top floor control and the lack of any contention on the defense could really hurt them. And Semi's going to go for the C4. Goodbye, Quartz, who's just chilling, sitting still. I mean, I guess maybe they didn't know there was a Pulse there, but if you know... I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because if you know there's a Pulse there, you are just not going to be sitting on destructible floors like that. So maybe a lack of intel hurting One Shot, but Haiku, who we saw tucked in the desk for whatever reason, is going to get up and try and run away and pay the price. Good. I'm glad. And what could have been a one-man advantage, knocking out the sledge, a very, very good pick, will be even man count.
All right, we highlighted how important the sledge was, and of course, I don't even think he got to do any soft destruction before that kill was found. Great heads-up awareness from Semi to get that done, but now they've got to worry about a lot more. One shot shifting from that top floor are going to begin to pressure this site. Z, one of these players in the immediate line of sight from this attack, but Swaylin will pick up Semi, and Z is no help in that. Z will get aggressive and take down Slippery, who was pushing down those main stairs, but in the meantime, Goons, the castle, has also dropped to the floor. Duke will join his teammate in the DBNO state, and the final kill found onto Z there from Kilo will be enough to send, I believe that is going to be match point now for One Shot as they stretch their lead to 2 rounds.
Yeah, Semi was stuck between a rock and a hard place, especially with those floor holes and the Finka bearing down onto him. But the Finka wasn't there yet. I mean, he had people to cover. One bottom marble, one in the hallway by the metal detectors, by beepers, as they say. And Semi still decided he was going to swing the teller's people, and it did not work. He got clapped. And while the Finka died, he's still down to player first, and One Shot have like 3 people barreling in towards tellers. The one anchor in archives isn't going to be able to do anything. And One Shot win the round. So, despite losing courts, they say, all right, we can't play vertical anymore. We might as well do a full flat take. And, well, ECLECTIQ gets swamped. 6-3 is now the score. One Shot on map and match point, as they had already won Chalet 7-4, and they'll have to do so on the basement, which ECLECTIQ did win the last time they defended it. One Shot are probably ready for how they're going to hold it. Though, you know, if ECLECTIQ do win this round, they got to go back to either CEO or Tellers, which they lost handedly. So, not quite sure how much it'll matter if they win this defense.
Right, I mean, it may just be delaying the inevitable at this point, but as we've said a couple times, every round ECLECTIQ takes is another statement, is another way to say we deserve to be here because we can hang with the best of the best. One Shot, you know, being the favored team in this group and likely one of the favored teams to go pretty far in playoffs when those come around. But again, ECLECTIQ also looking to make a run for it as well. So here we are on match point. ECLECTIQ, they need 3 in a row. They need to pull out something, and it seems that a roam, an extension, and possibly some aggression is going to be their solution. You have both the Vigil and the Mozzie. A lot of information limiting focus in these roamers, and what we may see is another drop down from Goons. He will go all the way outside, top ropes, and get that kill, but he is likely not much longer for this world. He's actually got 1 HP. Kill not finished off. He'll try to make a quick escape to the new alley there, but Slippery will shut him down. So kill was traded out, but a nice jump out from Goons, and I think that's very worth it for the defense. Losing your Mozzie, who's essentially done his job, and taking down a Zofia of one of the big fraggers on One Shot and taking down a lot of that utility, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, good utility pick, though on the defense, you do lose a C4. So, you know, it's not like you don't lose, it's not like losing a Jaeger or a Vigil. But speaking of losing the Vigil, they might just be about to. Semi narrowly escapes the clutches of the Amaru as Swaylin finds Duke, and there's the kill. Slippery holding down main stairs, able to catch the Vigil in his escape effort. Now it's Haiku and Z. Now, last time, on this very bomb site, Haiku was part of a 2v4 clutch. He was joined by Duke. Doesn't have Duke at his disposal. Now he's got Z. Could they clutch another 2v4? I'm sure, though, One Shot aren't going to get too ahead of themselves once again, and they do have over a minute to play with. So it's going to be a very tough round for ECLECTIQ to come away from, but as Haiku gets 1 frag, going to be looking for more. Swaylin has his back turned, but he'll finally look back towards the door. Haiku is trying to prone in, but taking a prone angle like that, not advantageous. And that leaves just Z in a 1v3, the only man standing between One Shot and victory.
The top frag, though, if there's anybody you want, it's Z. He's got some confidence. He's got double digits in the kill department here, but he has to fight against, Well, 3 hungry one-shot attackers who are all bearing down, and this time they are not looking to make the same mistakes. They are looking to get this bomb down, play objective, not get tunnel visioned on finding these frags, but Z may make them do that. He'll step out, get one, good headshot onto Storms. He'll see the head of another, but can't quite get the shot. Mirror window's going to be used, and that's a great kill onto Slippery. Now it's a 1v1, and with 15 seconds left, Swaylin is on the back foot. Z is spray through the wall, can't quite get it, but using this mirror window is perfect. Swaylin, he's flustered. He's sprinting on in an effort to get this kill, and Z will get the headshot and the 1v3 clutch against One Shot to keep ECLECTIQ's hopes alive.
Wow. Another 2v4 on the same site. Only instead of Duke, it's Z, and he steps up big. Haiku with the first pick, top blue. I gotta say, I think that was Quartz. Gets a little bit too aggressive, and there's no trade immediately. Swaylin eventually finds it, but it costs a little bit of time. Now, it's Z in a 1v3. And while there was one initial drone to spot out the Wamai in the hallway, there was no follow-up. So they didn't know he had pushed deep into well, not deep into CCTV, but into the CCTV corner by the doorway into the hallway. Down goes Yurimaru. He repositions. There's no trade. And while Swaylin attempts the plant, Slip walks in. I gotta question that decision. It's a Wamai left up. You know it is a Wamai left up. He can't do anything about the plant. He's got impact. Wow, cool. Big whoop. What is he gonna do with that? There's no C4, no gas canisters, no nothing. Why do you push in and give him the free fight? He has a mirror window, man.
Everyone on ECLECTIQ is proving that they cannot be underestimated. And One Shot, I think...
Wait, don't praise them. Remember? If we praise them, they lose.
Ah, you're right.
5 seconds to go.
Come on,
Z.
Z. Could have been a 1v4.
Go
ahead.
No, but in all seriousness, One Shot have allowed ECLECTIQ... I'll frame it this way. One Shot have allowed ECLECTIQ to get a couple of rounds because I think One Shot have made the mistake of underestimating their opponents here. And that is something that will have to change.
Well done.
Right? I mean, framed it that way. ECLECTIQ,
I like the manipulation of the semantics.
Semantics matter when you've got the caster curse ability, so we'll see. We'll see how ECLECTIQ continue here, right? They're still at a 2-round deficit. They still need to bring this back. And like you mentioned before that last round, Harrison, the result of that one, it may not have mattered because now they have to go to 2 sites that they have struggled with holding down before. One Shot, they've also struggled with getting clean attacks on all of these sites. I'll add that. Quartz, I mean, last time he tried to attack Tellers and Archives, he found himself blown up within a couple seconds. And that may be the case if he gets complacent again, because Semi is sitting down below, and he's got a C4, not only his own, but of Goons and of Haiku ready to use. Now, that one is going to come up with nothing, but this gun could. Duke will spot out Quartz, and 50 HP will be dealt up. Now C4 from Semi. That could be perfect. Swaylin takes 50, but not quite finished all the way.
Wow, I can't believe Swaylin survived that. It almost looked like the C4 was about to hit him in the face, but he gets away miraculously. Goons will now be the next player to try and challenge the top floor. He sees Quartz, shoots the drone first, but still lands the pick on the sledge. And there's no refrag attempt. Who's that upstairs? Who is that? Is that Slip? And Slip loses. What? Goons with a big 2K. Sledge and Finka dead. Nades down. Gone 6 down. No more vert play. No more booster. Healing. Swaylin will be now just above half for the remainder of the round. And One Shot have to play in a 3 versus 5. That's huge. You're going to, again, completely shift to this full horizontal. But there's the big difference, right? There's 3, not 4, meaning that they don't have the player marble stairs, and they're going to be even more pressed for man count as Haiku slams Kilo.
I mean, man, now the tables have turned. Swaylin now, he'll take a free gunfight because Semi really wanted to swing and just get a kill early. A mistake made there, no question about it, but ECLECTIQ still hold the edge. A 4v2, Haiku getting spotted out by Swaylin there, and he'll take a bit of damage, and eventually he will fall, again overexposing himself. 2 mistakes in a row. ECLECTIQ, with their 3 players standing, they've got to remain tidy. They cannot allow One Shot to bring it back, and they are. They're gifting kills. What is happening? Goons is gone. Storms will get 1 after Swaylin just got 2, and now it is an even 2v2. 15 seconds, however, so ECLECTIQ still absolutely hold the edge, but Storms is looking to change that. He'll drop right on into Tellers, and he'll look to find this kill, and he will do so. Duke drop down, finished off, triple kill for Swaylin. All he has to do is get this diffuser down, and Z has to push in on the retake. Storms knows exactly where he's coming from, and a 2v5. In the end, one shot finished it out. ECLECTIQ could not just tidy it up for one round. One shot will finish it out 7-4.
Wow. Swaylin and Storms. 3 for Sway, 2 for Storms, and the 2v5 to win the game. Double 7-4s. I mean, well done to One Shot, obviously, for winning the series. But, you know, while I was getting kind of angry at ECLECTIQ for a lot of the stuff they were doing, they still put up an admirable fight. 8 rounds and 2 maps against the 3rd place Challenger League team. Well done. I think, again, being a completely unknown factor, I think they turned some heads today. Now, obviously, it's back to the drawing board with a lot of those pushes and a lot of those plays, but for their first match against an opponent like One Shot, I think they performed admirably.
Well, they absolutely did. I mean, a 14-8 overall scoreline is nothing to be ashamed of at all, and especially when it seemed like they had One Shot's number for like 50% of this matchup. They managed to really put on a show, and even then, I'd argue that a handful of rounds that One Shot were able to win really could have gone back and forth. I mean, consider ECLECTIQ maybe had they been a little bit better in those when they held those advantages and in those 1vx's or those 2vx's or kind of those messy situations in the end, had they just tidied a couple of those rounds up, we may have seen, you know, maybe Bank go to OT, maybe one of these maps go to OT. You know, Chalet, I know, was very closely contested. Obviously, we can do a lot of hindsight 2020. We can do a lot of retrospection here, but the point is, ECLECTIQ, they did well. They made the statement we were asking them to make. One Shot will take the win. They will, you know, get that win under their belt in ECLECTIQ. It's a double elimination bracket, so that is one loss to their name. They're going to want to change that as soon as possible, but I do think they did something they should be proud of today.
Who are the other 2 teams in Group B? I know one is ECLECTIQ, and who's the qualifier team? Can't remember. Is it Okami?
It was from Qual 2. No, it's not Okami. It's... Here we go. We pull it up.
Oh, hey.
Soup.
Thanks,
Yes.
Ferme. Oh, it's Soup. No wonder I forgot them. I have no idea who they are either.
Yeah, they're a mystery.
Actually, no. No, I know who the players are. I forgot. Okay. Forgot about them. But yeah, One Shot. Taking the match 2-0. I think if we just want to take a moment, right? We've praised ECLECTIQ for their showing. Now, ECLECTIQ, if you're listening, any of the players, Koala, the coach, any friends of ECLECTIQ, if you're listening, the biggest piece of advice I can give you, and I think what should be the biggest takeaway from this match, is that sometimes you just gotta stop. You gotta not peek. You gotta not push. You gotta hide. You gotta hold a crossfire with your team. You don't always have to be the aggressor. So many rounds today, you lost because you decided you wanted to make the play. You wanted to take the fight. Last round, just then, for example, it was a 2 versus 5. And what did you do? You peeked into Swaylin 3 times. He's just trying to walk through a doorway. Let him. The more he pushes into the site, the more your crossfires become relevant, if you had any. Sometimes you just got to slow down. So remember that heading into your next game. Otherwise, I mean, in terms of gun skill and in terms of general strategy, I think, you know, ECLECTIQ definitely impressed, and I'll be looking towards their improvements in their second game, because I think if they fix their issues, they could be a real contender.
Yeah, they absolutely can. I mean, it's also going to be important to see, and I'm going to be curious to see, you know, how they stack up against some of these other qual teams, right? Obviously, in all of these groups, it's CL teams and it's qual teams. There's going to be a skill gap. There's going to be an experience gap, no matter how you slice it. Of course, there are stronger teams than others, like we highlighted. Both Surf and Mystic are some of these top T3 teams that really do have more than a fighting chance against some of these CL contenders. But it will be interesting to see exactly how, you know, whether the outcome of that ECLECTIQ Soup game, whether it results in Soup, you know, heading down and playing ECLECTIQ here, you know, for, you know, as that potential elimination game, that'll be really worth keeping an eye on to see how ECLECTIQ will stack up against the competition. Because you look at this and you would think, man, they really can take down almost T2 competition. Why not T3 competition?
Yeah, I think it's definitely too. As they play more, they'll gather that experience and figure out how to play in those, high pressure, stop peaking situations. I think, One Shot's experience definitely showed here. And ECLECTIQ were, in a word, undisciplined, I guess we could say, as now we pull up the map stats.
Oh, Z.
Z, 15-8. By far the standout performer for his team on Bank, but it's dwarfed by Swaelin's 16-6, 3-0 on entry, 82% cost, and a plant. That's what we love to see from the primary hard breacher and a player that we know can frag out of his mind no matter what operator he's on. He is our player of the map, 1.77 rating, which I'm interested to see. Who's going to be the player of the match? Because Swaelin was not one of the top 3 on map 1. I think it might be Kilo.
Yeah, Kilo had a solid performance here too, right? I mean, he's got that positive rating and went 9-8 overall. 2-2 on the entry too is nothing to be ashamed of. No objective play from him or anyone, as I'm noticing on the ECLECTIQ side. Really frag focused. Not a lot of even attempts, I don't believe, to get that bomb down. Either hunt for the frag or kind of just forget about it, I guess.
I'm looking at my stats on map 1, and they, I think, had 1 plant.
I think they planted in like round number 7, and it was like
Yeah.
Kilo alone on the retake or something.
They planted round 7, Haiku did, but one shot planted, I think they have 3 total plants, if I'm not mistaken. So not a super objective focused game either way. I mean, getting 3 plants in 2 maps, maps like Chalet and Bank, I mean, that's okay. It's not terrible from One Shot. And that also goes into not necessarily how One Shot play, but I think it's an important note of how ECLECTIQ play, right? Because they're always pushing, they're always finding kills. So if you're going to play like that, most of these rounds are going to be off of kill.
And we are just waiting on Quartz to get in the call here. We've got our interview coming up with him in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. But it'll be interesting to ask him, how they felt ECLECTIQ really stacked up against them, because there were a few moments when it seemed, right, that One Shot didn't have an immediate answer. I mean, we were tied on Chalet for a few moments, but I'm just receiving word that we are good to go, and I can go ahead and talk to Quartz right now. Quartz, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on the victory, and most of all, welcome to SCS6. It's good to have you. And your first official matchup, of course, being invited, you didn't have to qual. How did you feel it went?
Pretty poorly. I mean, we ended up getting the win, but I think we made a lot of mistakes that we're gonna have to fix for the remaining of the season. But definitely felt good. I mean, the production is absolutely insane, and it feels good to be playing in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have you guys here, and I will, ask a little bit about this performance, because you're right, it did seem a little bit shaky at times. We'll talk about Chalet briefly. You went into Chalet and you actually ended up tied up. I think it was 4-4 at one point, and you guys took a timeout and tried to think it over. Coming out of that timeout, what was your plan of attack coming into the second half of that matchup? Like, what were the things you identified that ECLECTIQ was doing that really had you guys in trouble?
They were like, it feels like they were doing a lot of solo plays to make them win the round, so we just had to play like tighter, I guess, and more stick to the plan that stick to our own strats, not like deviate too much. And so that was pretty much it. Just stick to the plan and just
And did you come forward into Bank with a similar strategy, whether that was like the passivity or just watching out for the aggression? Because I mean, they came out round number 1 and they just kind of rushed at you and it caught you off guard a bit.
Yeah. I mean, we came in Bank with the same mindset. I guess that was like the plan the whole game, to kind of play like I guess to our strengths, right? And but at the end, I mean, they caught us off guard. We did a bunch of like bad decision making and stuff, so that ended up costing us like a lot of rounds. But I mean, we're still ending up with the dub, so I'm confident for the future.
Awesome. Well, speaking of, I mean, I want to talk to you a little bit about the future specifically. You know, is there another team here in SCS6 who you're looking at and going, you know, we want to face them down when we get to the playoffs, we want to take them down, or do you guys feel pretty confident with the way you're sitting?
I mean, I'd like another rematch against Aerial Rise. For now, I think the series is 1-1, so we'd definitely like to beat them again. But I definitely want to see like play against those tier 3 teams, top tier 3 teams, Surf and I think Mystic. Definitely just to see how we would perform against them.
Awesome. Well, great performance today. That's all I've got for you. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you in later weeks.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Thanks, Course.
Thank you.
Well, seem pretty confident, but also, you know, sounds like they were a little bit disappointed in their performance. And Harrison, I mean, I feel like that was kind of expected, right?
Yeah, that's kind of understandable with them taking the other team taking 8 rounds off of one shot. I imagine one shot are definitely going to be going back to the drawing board with some stuff. But no, yeah, top rated player is going to be Swaylin. 25 and 13 on Thermite Smoke.
Oh my.
Playing Ace and Mozzie, map 2. I mean, most of his kills were on Ace Mozzie, you know, granted, but still, having 10 kills, or what is 9 kills? As Thermite Smoke on Chalet, that's pretty damn good. 4 and 2 on the entry as well. Everyone else on his team was negative on the entry, by the way, which again goes to show that ECLECTIQ play the aggressive game. They can find those openers, but they have no discipline. So many of those rounds, they would start off with an opener, start off with sometimes even a 2-man advantage, and the discipline gets them. They overpeak, and they die. Z going 24 and 18, he was a huge part of that. 4 and 1 on entry, above a 1.0 KPR. I mean, he was doing brilliantly, but the rest of his team being negative. Again, discipline, word of the day.
I think we can sum up, you know, our feedback towards ECLECTIQ as in, you should keep your heads held high, right? Yes, you've got to go back to the drawing board and work out some things. As you've said, there are some things they need to work out. But when you go to the drawing board, you should sit down and you should be confident in doing so, because for being an unknown team who made a miracle run through the qualifiers, they put on a pretty clean performance. But when they go to the drawing board, Harrison, they've got to sit down somewhere, right? Why don't they sit down in a Mavix gaming chair? Why don't you experience Mavix gaming chairs for yourself, the exclusive chair partner of NerdStreet Gamers and local host? All Mavix gaming chairs feature the Future 9 functions of critical ergonomics to support gamers everywhere. You can get yours today for as little as $24.69 a month. Using code NSG55 saves you $55 at mavix.com/NerdStreetGamers. So you can check that out, and you can check that out during this quick break that we're going to have between this matchup and our next matchup of the day, which is going to be Aerial Rise versus Achieve Esports. So don't go anywhere.